All right. Hi, Assalamualaikum, and good evening, everyone. My name is Hajar, and I will become your host for today. So, first of all, I would like to check first, is it my voice loud and clear? So, if yes, please give me emoticons thumbs up so that I know my voice or technical part is doing good. Okay, loud and clear. All right, thank you for the feedback. So, I would like to welcome you on this webinar, Deal or Grill. So, who is the first time here? May I know someone that who is the first time here? If you are the first time, so please put one. Like if you're the second time, like please put two. Okay, wow, a lot of people like who is the first time here. Okay, second time. All right, great, amazing. Okay, so tonight for those who yang tengok kita dekat our live streaming yang lain, which is TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook, so you guys can join us through Zoom so that you guys can ask a question. Okay, so tonight we are going to discuss basically these 5 properties, which are Lofthill, Raja Uda KL. Second is Mat 1, KL Metropolis. And third, Times Square 2 in BKL. Fourth is like Pinnacle, Subang Jaya. And last but not least is RNF Phase 3 Johor Bahru. So as usual, there is no fluff, no sweet talk. And this is basically just a brutal nonsense breakdown of Malaysia's most talked about properties. Okay. So we are going to have like a few panelists for tonight that I will invite later on. So first of all, I would like to share a few of housekeeping rules for tonight. Okay. So the first one is there will be no recording for tonight. So if you guys want to watch our Deal or Grill, you guys can watch it on our YouTube channel. Okay. And second, if you want to ask question, please put your question in the Q&A box. Avoid it to put in the chat, yes, because we can see your question and eventually we can bring it up during the live Q&A session. Okay, so with that, are you guys ready? If yes, give me like emoticons love so that I can call like our first panelist, which is like Faizul Ridzuan. So boss, are you ready?
Hello, hello.
All right.
Wondering whether you guys can hear me loud and clear, guys.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right.
All right, so the stage is yours.
Assalamualaikum semua. Very good evening for all of you. Salam daripada Jakarta. So baru habis berbuka puasa. I think this is gonna be our first deal or grill deal or grill for Ramadan, and after our battle royal for Cyberjaya, I think a lot of people are quite excited to see our first deal or grill for tonight. Macam biasa, we have 5 panelists, right? We have 5 panelists. So with that, I want to bring over my co-panelists for tonight before we move to the presentation. So we got Albee, we've got Zakri, we've got William, and we've got Sean, right? So tolong tunjuk muka semua guys, right? Before we start. Right. I dengar Sean, William, Albee semua berpuasa juga sempena bulan Ramadan ni. Tapi korang ni puasa makan ke korang puasa tak beli property saja? So which one is it?
Dua-dua.
Dua-dua puasa makan. Aja ada puasa ya William? Patut makin kurus dan makin handsome.
Yeah.
Right. Albee ada puasa ke Albee? Ke puasa beli property saja?
Puasa property saja.
Sean nampak macam tak puasa both makan and tak puasa beli property. Dia ada beli property bulan puasa ni. Dia punya muka tu banyak senyum. Senyum dia banyak tinggi lah.
Yes. Tak puasa lah.
So betul-betul tak puasa, right? Okay. So as usual guys, the format of Deal or Grill, we're going to discuss 5 properties today. What is interesting here is that I received a call from a property developer today to tell us to be easy on their project, right? To go easy on the project, which I tell them, sorry guys, we can't do it. We'll tell the truth. We'll be fair, right? As usual, but we don't get fucking paid to basically do this. So no one owns us, right? So we can say whatever we want, whatever that we need to say. If the project is great, we're gonna tell you it's great. If the project isn't, we'll also tell you it's not lah, right? So that's just the price that we pay to basically speak about the truth. Sometimes I lose friends, right? Business because of deal or grill. But like I said lah, kebenaran tu ada harga dia, guys. The truth always comes at a price. Betul lah, Sean? So I think we've been in this business, and every time, when I was doing speaking engagement, developer expect me just because they pay me 5 figure for my 1 hour, 2 hour my session, I should be selling their property, like it's the best thing in the world, which I told them no. If that's the job that you want us to go and do, please take me out, right? So, and I think as of today, even Sean does that, right? So our soul is not for sale. Begitulah, right? So guys, we are taking again, as usual, every week that we do this, we take significant risk to tell the truth. But the whole idea is to guide people in terms of, to give people an honest POV, right? What to buy, what to avoid, lah, right? So thank you, Willem. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Albee. Thank you, Zakri, for being part of this journey of, telling the truth, making some people like us. Hopefully more people like us than more people hate us. So with that, I'm going to set quickly the context, and then after that, we're going to go to the first project. So whichever say, like, guys, we take a lot of risk, right? Just to do deal or grill, right? And we have to do it honestly, right? So again, why we're doing this, very simple. We want to give people different and independent POV for anyone looking to buy an investment property or even own stay, right? We want to use data to help provide independent guide for anyone looking to buy, and we want to uncover the incorrect facts that is currently being used to sell this property by either the developer or the agent. So if you can see in our last session, right, our last deal or grill, we're actually quite vocal with certain agencies, certain developer who we thought was misrepresenting to a large extent, right? Mis-selling to a certain extent. So a lot of people are quite unhappy with our presentation. But again, right, the goal is to educate the public. And we're hoping that people do better, lah, right? Rather than trying to misrepresent, mis-selling the property. When a lot of investors, if they understood, right, their target segment, there's really no need to lie, right? So tonight, unfortunately, some of these project akan kena hot soup lah, basically, right? So it's going to be quite controversial, right? So next slide, please. Right, we did the last battle royal in Cyberjaya, right? We did the last battle royal for Cyberjaya dengan Putrajaya. I think there are people who asked for the link. Team, if you can please provide the link to people who wants to watch our battle royal. Last battle royal was actually quite quick and concise. And I made a very controversial statement that I think Cyberjaya is undervalued today versus Bukit Jalil. And I guess people who are marketing Bukit Jalil today, again, we're very unhappy with that statement. And Cyberjaya has not made money for a lot of people in the last 15 to 20 years. But I believe that Cyberjaya today will finally turn around the corner. And as usual, we made bold predictions a couple of years in advance. I told people that we're going to have bull run in 2020, and today we have that, right? We're already seeing that. I told people that Johor is going to beat KL, and today Johor is beating KL, right? From a rental yield point of view, capital gain point of view. So we are always ahead of time. So this is one of my other prediction, which is again going to be ahead of time, that I think that people who buy Cyberjaya will actually make more money than people who actually bought Bukit Jalil in general in 2024, 2025, right? So that was the one of the most controversial statement that we made during Battle Royal. Now, when it comes to deal or grill, we have actually reviewed all of these properties. We got Ajal Bukit Bintang, we got Nexus Taman Pertama, we got Kingswoods, we got Tuan 3, we got Arte, Bamboo Hill, Skies Maluri, Atera Petaling Jaya, Sunway Velocity 3, Radium Marina, right? These are all properties that we have actually grilled in the past. If you move to the next slide, I think there's going to be more properties, right? We've also done a lot of Battle Royale last year. So please follow our YouTube channel, right? If you want to go and watch Battle Royale, right? Which is under Faizul Ridzuan. Next slide, please. right? And this is the property that we're going to review tonight. So these are 5 property which is the most hottest being discussed in the last 30 days, either in forums, either in ads, right? Facebook and apa semua tu, right? So we pick this property based on, you know, how many people are discussing them, how many people are doing ads, selling this property. So this is top 5 properties lah, right? In the last 30 days. First one will be Lofthill in Raja Uda, KL, right? Being marketed as a KLCC property. Second will be Mat 1 at KL Metropolis, right? Which is a completed property, but recently, there's a lot of hype against it. Then you got Times Square 2, right? Dekat Albee, KL, right? Then you got Pinnacle Subang, right? Dekat Selangor. And then last but not least, our first Johor property that we are gonna look at under the deal or agree segment, right? Which is R&F Phase 3. Now, there will also be a bonus tonight. There will be a bonus tonight. Would you guys like some bonus, guys, of additional information, right? So, but you got to stay until the end. We're going to talk a little bit about Singapore market and the trend which is ongoing dekat Johor, especially on the new economic zone punya incentive. So normally we only review 5 property and after that, okay, tutup kedai, right? So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the latest incentive being launched, which is under the SEZ incentive, and how you could potentially benefit or it doesn't change you in any way lah, basically, right? So tonight will be very interesting. Kita ada special bonus session. We're going to review that, right? So yeah, these are going to be the 5 properties we are going to be discussing tonight. And with that, I will hand over the floor to, the research team of ACAP, which is currently being helmed by Zakri and Albee. With that, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Okay, without further ado, let's do our first one, which is Times Square 2. I guess I received a lot of Q&A in our past battle or our DOG sessions. So today we're going to review this Times Square 2 at in BKL, or you guys can label it near to Bukit Bintang or 118 area. So this is at our prime locations. The advertising at the cheapest per square feet that you can get in both Bukit Bintang and KLCC. And also this is a triple TOD to monorail, LRT, MRT, and also they have link bridge to the mall, which is to the Lalaport and also our Times Square Mall. For this area, they are targeting for Airbnb as well. So on the next slide would be actually our truth that we find that how should they advertising. I guess in this Bukit Bintang, it is true this is an Airbnb tourism hotspot. For price wise, I would say it's lower in per square feet, but not the lowest, because you guys can get something that is better, in the proper TRX area, if you get from the right persons. So on the next slide will be the details of this Times Square 2. So for some context, maybe some of you not really sure where this is, right? Even though they are advertising in Bukit Bintang. So this is actually near to the end of the Bukit Bintang, more closest to a Times Square area where you have the Lalaport area lah. So in forum, people are discussing why this area is not that happening. They talk about some feng shui of this old jail or something. So this is why there's people are saying, oh, this price is something that we can enter. The prices is looks pretty nice. So let's dig out when we go to the investments and also the median of area. So on the details page, we can see that on the layout wise, they actually introduce the smallest would be 488 square feet, 1 bedroom. The largest would be 1,000 square feet, about 3 bedroom. So net per square feet wise, close to 1,250. Facilities wise, they have several facilities. They have sky lounge, rooftop pool, and also gym, multi-purpose hall, outdoor gym, garden walk. I would say quite variety lah. So for this one, this is a freehold. So on the next slide will be on the own stay verdict. So for the location wise, it's accessible through Akili Smart, Jalan Imbi. Also, their main is the Jalan Imbi and so Lok Yu side lah. Max and so SPE. Amenities around, they have international school for one, colleges consider until all the UKM area. Healthcare, they have 3, shopping malls have 8, because we have quite a number until the Bukit Bintang area. Public transport wise would be the 100 meter to this monorail Albee, 300 meter to this LRT Hang Tuah, and also 700 meter to this MRT Bukit Bintang. So long-term livability, I will rate it as a great connectivity and also accessibility. And also this is an integrated development with malls within this Times Square too, because they have connected link bridge. So looking at the mortgage wise, if you are looking for the smallest bedroom, it's about 2,002. The largest one is about 5,003. So if you want for investment more flexible, there's a dual key layout. So it's close to 4,400 approximately. So on the next slide, we'll look at the current median of this area. I'll label it more towards the 118 area because it's almost towards the end of the Bukit Bintang already. So for as per current, on average, considering all of the development that's being transacted is about 1,200 per square feet. If you're considering new, there's only 3 transactions from Lucentia residents. This is I would say it's more on a luxury development. It was transacted about 1,500 per square feet. This is a non-developer transaction, so it's a sub-sales transaction lah. So for O's wise, we is close to 1,060 per square feet for the old development in this area. So tiering one, I will label it tier 1. So upcoming supply for nearest one for this Times Square 2 will be actually from Swank House and Baraningens over the KL Bukit Bintang area, probably with the Orion Residence and so Pavilion Square lah. So boosters why I will consider HSR. Maturity point, I will say this area is actually quite matured. Not much booster will upcoming for it other than the HSR or probably the TRX that we are talking about. So MRO wise, main of the concern for this Times Square 2, actually most of it they are targeting for the Airbnb. So the other side we'll see as whole unit, because looking at the rental of this area, if you look at this luxury residence, which is Lucentia, their 1 bedroom is up to 3,003 to 4,000 lah. So it's about the same. For the older one, we have the Robertsons and also Swiss Garden. Their 1 bedroom is about 2,005 to 3,000. So if you are comparing the new one to the mortgage that you're looking forwards, backward just now, they're actually able to cover because with the median prices, the net prices you are entering lah. So if you are looking for the 3 bedroom or bigger sizes, is probably on the Lucentia, it's about close to 1,004 lah. This is why the rental is up to 9,000, but this is more towards a luxury condominium. So without further ado, we just go to our own stay verdict or our investment verdict. Let's bring out our all panelists. Let's discuss this now. Where people asking, buying this 118 or Bukit Bintang area at 1,250 per square feet. You know, where Pavilion launched at almost 2,000 per square feet. Orion almost 3,000. Yeah, what do you guys think about almost half of the prices or maybe 70% of it comparing to all the new launches in this area? Good to invest or just so for the price, for the area, for the location? Yeah, because this is towards the end more towards the Pudu side. Yeah, not really that point if you compare to the real center of Bukit Bintang.
So is this Pudu or Bukit Bintang? Right? So that's the primary question.
Yeah.
If it's Bukit Bintang 1-2 cheap, if it's Pudu 1-2 expensive loh. Right? I am in a way under the view that this is more Pudu than it is Bukit Bintang lah. Right? So yeah. But what is your take? Like
as per check is Bukit Bintang address lah, but it's actually Bukit Bintang towards the Pudu side. So after this area is already a Pudu low rise old properties already, right? For own stay, I personally don't think Bukit Bintang this area is not suitable for long-term livability lah. Even the mall located next to the property, but this area is not, for me lah, this area is not suitable, especially for small scale, big scale family. Yeah, it's not on stay friendly lah, so no for on stay. Investment wise, spec is good, quite good. Price is competitive for Bukit Bintang, right? If you are talking about Bukit Bintang address, potentially yes, since it's but if there's a cheaper option at Bukit Bintang, So I rather go for other property that offer better price, and potentially more accessible to TRX, since that's considered a new magnet already, right? So yeah, potentially yes, but if there's other options, better price, I would rather go for other property lah. Yeah.
William?
Actually, dia border Bukit Bintang lah, like what Zakri said. But if you just look at it like pure address kind of perspective, right, it's really interesting lah at 1,200, 1,300 per square feet net with a rooftop pool semua tu. Linked to mall, which is not so happening, tapi at least it's a mall, and also apa tu, monorail lah. So I checked out the showroom last time. I think it's really interesting. If you really just buy based on Bukit Bintang address lah, right? Like what Zakri said, I don't think there's any new launch that comes at this price, with a proper Bukit Bintang address. So I think actually it's interesting lah, pricing wise. Of course, it's not a proper center kind of Bukit Bintang. So I think investment probably can go for it. Probably yeah, I can try go at this price point with nice specs and connectivity. But I would say same as Zakri lah. This area not really good, especially for long term. Unless you stay like what 3 years, 4 5 years, okay lagi lah. Because it's quite crowded, the traffic you turn into TRX there, very crowded, and then got a few more development coming up like Bennington's, just around the corner. So yeah, stay Bali boleh lah. You pakai monorail semua tu boleh.
To me, I got access to this less than 1,000 per square feet.
Wah,
Ah,
thousand ah.
so
Oi.
Wah.
because I pass customer.
Oh.
So that one was like 1 to 2 years ago lah. Then
Ini unfair advantage ni.
oh ya lah. Tapi tak beli pun. So something to take note is from the next door development, Lala Port side. So EcoWorld is doing a lot of effort, meaning they move Wisma EcoWorld over already. So they shift their main office from Setia Alam over there already. So they also turn the old sales gallery into Tuah, a new concept development. Then you have all the lifestyle hub and things like that. So you can see a lot of effort in them trying to change the perspective. The mall, although it's empty, but it's still well maintained. So that's the Japanese standard lah. Times Square is a place where I buy a lot of watches. So on ground floor, it's okay. And so I always hang out at the upper floors. So that is the stigma lah. So for me, it's like if the 1 to 2 bedroom kind of format, I think if you're a normal individual, I think it's okay one. Because what was the most surprising is the swing house in Lalaport side, BBCC side, right, is doing very, very well in rental. That was the very, very surprising thing. Then I just went the immersion, the digital art expo kind of thing. Then also I busybody go and walk to the residents. So there's direct connectivity to not only monorail but MRT and LRT. So after school hours, right, actually that area, the LRT is very, 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 very busy one. So in terms of footfall, a lot. So now they are just trying their best to divert the footfall into the mall. That's about it lah. So now it's their whole strategy. So if that happens, then this would make sense. So if not, it's going to be an Airbnb and rental property lah. So it's definitely not a family thing lah. So for investment, I think it's okay one, but not at if you can cheaper by 100 or 150 per square feet, then I think it's a okay buy for a normal person without any bulk purchase access lah.
So RM100 per square foot more. So about 1,001 lah. And below lah.
I think 1,001 because neighbor sub-sale already that price mah.
Okay. Zach?
Albee.
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 They
On my side, also grew for own stay but due for investment lah. So basically yeah, looking at layouts wise, I mean the locations, if you talk for investment for small layout, I think is doable with the current rental, and also are more suitable for probably for youngsters or small family groups would stay to get access with the LRT site. But if big size or for own stay, for the location probably is not that great, because you don't have a lot of schools, and this area is more close to the Pudu area side, maybe more concern. So due for investment, grew for own stay. Yeah.
What concern about Pudu? Just
I mean, a lot of people have stigma that Pudu is a bit like a bit messy. I mean the crowd, the populations around there. So this is why people have concerns of setting up, putting your families to be here, staying around here. Yeah, because there are a lot of people, you saw a lot of people at the LRT stations. But if you put your kids to get to LRT access to go to school, probably that's a concerns of over this area, because last time, because Lalaport offer free car park. So me and my friends, we go for a city walk in KL. So we park our car in Lalaport. So then we get to experience during around 5 to 6. The crowd over there is actually a lot. You saw a lot of people at these stations walking around. Access to walk to this, from the mall to the other station is I would say a lot of people, and a lot of different people. Yeah. So probably a bit concerning maybe on the safety side. Yeah. That's my personal experience of having the city walk over this Lalaport because of a free car park. Yeah. So that's my feeling for this area. So far, if you comparing to more towards the Bukit Bintang or TRX area, probably maybe that area is at night you're still able to hang out with friends. Yeah, this area probably is not really. Yeah, for my personal view lah.
too much local flavor lah.
Yeah.
Albee too
Yeah.
atas already. She doesn't want Pudu.
Tak ada pergi city walk, I pergi park sana, okay?
Dia rasa tak selamat dekat Pudu.
Yeah, that's my take.
Okay. For me, the verdict, right? Which is gonna be next slide. I mean, for own stay, it's not very favorable given the fact that it's not like proper Bukit Bintang. It's Pudu. It's not bad, but it's completely not the best lah, right? From investment point of view, it has got a rooftop pool. I think it's the only property around that area that has got a rooftop pool, right? So which we like lah, which we think will, other than I think there's one more property kan dekat BBCC kan yang ada rooftop pool juga. I forgot the name. Lucentia. Yeah. Right, which is why Lucentia's rental is actually quite good, right, as of today, right? So partly because of that. So Lucentia was sold at a higher price point. I think the average is about 1,005 each per square foot. So at 1,001, at a less favorable location, admittedly, right? So you get what you pay for, basically, right? So we don't think it's overly expensive. The only reason why this is not higher from an investment point of view is because we're buying at similar price point per square foot, but in proper Bukit Bintang TRX. That's it. Right? So comparatively, do I want to pay 1,001, 1,002 at the pseudo Pudu / Bukit Bintang versus a proper walkable to Pavilion, walkable to TRX, slightly above 1,002? It's a no-brainer lah, basically, right? Especially when you look at TRX today, a lot of properties around there is going for about 2,000 ringgit per square foot, and we're buying at about 1,200 ringgit plus per square foot. So it makes it a no-brainer. This one, you might argue BBCC is going for 1,415, right? At 1,001 is fairly priced, but still cannot beat, the price point that we're basically getting in proper Bukit Bintang, proper TRX, right? So that's that lah. We like the property. Layout is fine, right? Most of the layout is okay. Location is not too bad. It's not the best too. Facility-wise, it's competitive, right? It's competitive versus more expensive peers. Like I think Swank House, I think it's more expensive than this. And it does not have a rooftop pool. Betul lah, Zakri and William?
Betul. Quite big.
Yeah.
1,400 kot. 1,300.
Yeah. So we think you will do quite okay from investment point of view. There's a strong possibility of getting a break-even rent, right? So again, like I said, right, we say things as it is, I guess. So there's always pros and cons, and we explain kenapa bintang dia rendah, kenapa bintang dia tinggi. The only reason why this is not higher is simply because I think there are better deals today lah, that you can buy proper TRX by just paying 100 to 200 ringgit per square foot more. Right, so that's that. We are buying that in the last 2 months at less than 1,003, right? So for us, it makes a lot more sense to buy in a proper prime location by just paying 100 ringgit per square foot more, right? Good to know. Sean got offer below 1,000 per square foot. Farcap was recently approached by this developer to see, and I've made an offer. Right, I made an offer. Apparently, my offer macam not good enough lah. Now that I know Sean's price point, I need to go back. I need to go back, negotiate down the price point, right? You know.
You negotiate it, I buy through you. I don't buy through.
Yeah lah, but I already booked at a higher price point, so I thought 1,000 ringgit per square foot is a fair price point. Now you are telling me 1,000 ringgit per square foot, so I will tell them lah. You offer Sean this price, you have to offer me something better. Sean will drop. Right. So well, together we are stronger, so that's the whole idea, right? Of grouping, right? And buying. Yeah. So that's that for Times Square too. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay, next one we have is Lofthill Raja Uda. So people are advertising this quite vastly in the internet. So they're advertising this under KLCC. So their marketing strategy is, I would say, very good. They were saying 50% below market value, you know. That was like, I was wondering what is 50% below market value in this KLCC. Then they have lifetime GR, minimum 4% up to 17%, fully furnished with private jacuzzi at their balcony, and also it's 30% zero down for third property or for our investor. So when I saw, I was like, okay, I clean and I find Lofthill Raja Uda. Then I go Google, see where is the exact location. Okay, it's not more near to the Kampong Baru area or the Sabara area, more close towards the our IJN hospital, that side. So okay, now that I understand why is it sounds 50% below market value, because it's not the proper, I would say, more proper KLCC area. Okay, so on the next slide, I think they should advertise more on the other side.
Sorry, give me a minute.
What does it mean, lifetime GRR?
I asked the agent, they asked me to sign a document with the operator, and then they advertise it under Marriott. Then I asked, is it really under Marriott? So they say it's another party that was under Marriott, so it's called Five Senses. Then I was like, I saw it's a Marriott one. People also saying a Marriott, and I go again, they say no, it's another partnership. So you have to sign. They will give you a minimum GR of 4% from the net price. Then I asked again, what does 4% looks like? You know, they say it's about 6,000 to 8,000. Then I was like, 6,000 to 8,000. How can it be 6,000 to 8,000 after, you know, your mortgage for it is actually quite high for this price point, you know, they are comparing it. So I asked how can they get the guaranteed rental return, right, for this? They say they're going to target for Airbnb. Profit sharing looks like for 80-20%. Then then I look back at my study in my Airbnb in KLCC, like looking at the most closest area, probably it's the Yap Kwan Sing area or Penang area, their occupancy and also their rate. Then I calculate, I think it's a bit too over the price for this GR to be lah, because calculate also it also cannot get the I mean 4% would looks all right, but not all the time. But 6,000 after, you know, net, I asked again, is it net giving back to me? He said yes, net giving back to me. I said, are you sure? I said, but at least 4%. But it's not a certain value, you know, whether it's a 4% or 6,000 that's going to be get back to me based on my net price point. They say it will be lifetime until, you know, but I'm not sure, because this jar issues has been last time also had this jar concept, right? But at the end of the day, they also didn't make it. Yeah. So, but this seems to be happen again, or people are introducing this again for this area. But Lofthill, I would say for their spec, they're introducing is quite fancy. If you look at their layout, is I would say very big. They can have a super big balcony up until 800 square feet. Then I was wondering, what can you do with the super big balcony, right? I asked, is it fully covered? Is it like full height covered, or with the full height windows covered, you know? They say yes, it is. Then I was like, so you get the balcony so big for what reason?
You
You know?
partition one more room right now.
Yeah, I asked the same question. Can I do partition for the balcony? They say if you sign, you have to sort of lease to this partnership partner lah. So they will help you to manage. So you cannot do it on your own lah. So basically, so you have just the ownership, but you cannot decide all the things on your own. Basically, it's fully furnished, everything done by them. They will just help you to manage all the property lah with the prices they're offering. But for me, the sizes is flexible in terms of they have 2-bedroom, but not practical for the very big size balcony. Even the agent say it's okay, just go for the normal 2-bedroom is enough. The super big one, I also find it too big for the sizes, which you guys can look on the next slide. So on the details slide, you guys can see the layout sizes for the smallest is about 610. It's a 2-bed 1-bath. Then they have dual key, which is up to 1,000 square feet, around that. Then the largest would be up to 1,900 square feet with extra big balcony. So for me, it's too fancy. From their layout being viewed online, they have put their balcony, you know, the jacuzzi, resting area. But I find it not really practical for such a big size with just 2-bedroom, but a very big living hall and a very big balcony. So the
Guys,
prices why?
There are some questions and some confusion whereby people think that this is a rebrand of a property called Armani Raja Uda or Armani Residence, right? So it's not, I guess. This is basically the plot next to it.
Yeah, this is
Phase
another
two.
one.
Right,
Mm.
so it's basically phase 2. Phase 1 apparently has already been fully sold, right? So now they are moving on to phase 2, right? So just to clear that confusion, number 1. Number 2 here, guys, if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A so that we can answer all of the questions that you have with regards of the project and today's presentation, right, during the Q&A session. Okay, so that's how we normally do it lah. But so to clarify, this is basically I wouldn't say it's second phase lah. It's just basically, you know, I think they built that one. They sold well. Now they've got the confidence to go and do the second phase lah, basically. Right? So, and I think for context point of view, the phase 1, I think, was also selling at roughly about the same price point. Maybe I think slightly cheaper, Albee.
Yeah, around around that 1,002.
Yeah. But I think after discount, it's probably about 1,001 average-ish. Right, so that's the phase 1. Now you got phase 2 lah. Phase 2 dengan phase 1, I think from a layout punya point of view pun not big of a difference.
More practical.
Huh?
But more practical.
The phase 1, in your point of view, right? It's more practical, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The phase 2 has got weird balconies in our point of view. And which is why we deem it as a little bit less practical compared to the phase one. So yeah, I wanted to just say something to clear that. So Albee, you can go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, so for this is the phase 2 of the Armani from the Armani developer side. So but in terms of layout wise, practical, I think phase 1 is much more practical. This is less practical with the big sizes. And facilities why I guess is pretty limited when I go through. They have sky pool gym. This is quite common for this all these KLCC product. They have to advertise, right? But in terms of varieties of it is quite limited lah. So on the next slide would be the own stay verdict about the accessibility of this area. This is actually quite close to this Jalan Tun Razak next to it. Access wise, you can access through Smart, Acleus, SP. MTs, they have 2 primary school around. Secondary school, they have none. University College is 2. Healthcare is 4. Shopping mall is 5. Public transport access, this is very walking distance to MRT Raja Uda. It's just 60 meters, which is just right next to this project itself. Long-term liquidity, I will just give great accessibility. Mortgage-wise, for the smallest one is about close to 4,000. The 2-bedroom dual key, about 800 square feet, is close to 4,100 as well. The dual key with big balcony, I take the smallest. This is because when I go through the listing, the agents give me to pick. The current available one is almost left with the 1,050 square feet one. I'm not sure, maybe he don't want introduce me the super big one, but he just give me this 1,050 to choose. So it's close to about 5,200 per month. So on the next slide would be the current area. So for the median of this area, there's actually no new property. So the old property is this Setia Sky residence. It's already old for now. Transacted is about 910 per square feet. Setia Sky resident was doing pretty well after the MLT was up everything, because it's really close to it, and also in this area they can get at a cheaper price point if they're comparing the proper KLCC for their rentals. Why this is why Setia Sky looks pretty good, you know, for the transaction and also the rental prices. So tiering wise, I would classify it for on tier 1 because of the prices. Supplies wise, we have multiple coming up in our KLCC. By Exim, we have Hana's, Hugo's, Kylie's, by Dawn, Oxley, or Cloudhouse that we have discussed in our last DOG. Armani residence as well. Booster is HSR or the TRX residence. Maturity at this, I think this area is actually quite matured. MRO, for this project, they are heavily targeting for Airbnb lah. So if you don't want manage go for this Airbnb, you're looking for just normal whole unit. If you're looking at Setia Sky Residence Studio, is about up to 2,006. 2-bedroom is up to 3,005. 3-bedroom is up to 4,005. So it's totally unable to cover your mortgage. Okay. So for extractions in this area by our Exim as well, 1-bedroom is about up to 2,009. 2-bedroom is about 3,005. Extraction is much more newer lah. Completion about 2019 around, or 2020 about that. So Setia is actually quite old. So if you are comparing rental with their mortgage, totally for this whole rental, you are unable to cover. So this is why they are actually really heavily depending on the Airbnb on the calculation and also their GR. So, okay, without further ado, let's move to the star verdict. So let's bring all our panelists. What do you guys think when people say this is GRR and people are advertising 50% below market value? That was really wondering what is 50%, right? Then yeah, I found this 50% in terms of the prices if they're comparing to the KLCC side.
I think let me start. I think when they marketed the 50% off, right, the KLCC thing is, I mean, it's next to Kampung Baru, and then they will talk about the redevelopment of Kampung Baru, right, the big booster there, and it'll be a new part of KLCC. And I believe that will be the selling point for them, how the agents communicated to their clients, you know, and just 2 stations away from ERS KLCC, at this price point linked to MRT, quite low dense. So I think those are the selling point by the agents basically. And for me, investment, I mean, look at Airbnb Play, there's tons of condos in proper KLCC, right, at I think a similar price point or slightly higher, right? Which I believe would be better option compared to these children's, unless of course one of the main selling point for this project is the balcony with the jacuzzi, right? In fact, I think the ads, some of them they use like, I mean, they post the jacuzzi right next to the balcony with a KLCC view. So that would be the major selling point lah. Which I don't think there will be a huge selling point for anyone who want to stay at Airbnb. I think there's already like one or two condo with this kind of concept lah. If I'm not mistaken, in the near TRX there, I forgot the name. But yeah. So I think investment memang tak boleh. Like you said, Albee rental already cannot cover based on certified property. We only supply in the same immediate area lah. So I think homestay cannot, and investment cannot. Or homestay, I don't think can also lah, unless you really like the area or you just move out from Kampung Baru, get compensated for your ownership in Kampung Baru, and then you want to move somewhere nearby. I believe then this will be the good option for you lah. Yeah. So Zakri, what about you?
I think no for homestay and also investment. Same like William. No for homestay. Even got MRT. Location wise, so lah. It's not really KLCC. I personally think this area is not livable in terms of long-term homestay. And this project also, because there will be a short stay game on the same development. So I prefer not to stay at the same development as Airbnb lah. So no for homestay. Investment wise, location good. Ada MRT, TOD, rooftop pool, can see KLCC. So I think it's good, but not confident on the return. On the rental. Again, since it's not really KLCC. I think the price should go lower than whatever they are selling today lah. Yep. Albee?
Also grill for both. Looking at the GR and layout, prices rental is not really that promising. I mean, if let's say if you're really comparing to KLCC, of course, KLCC development, they are a proper KLCC development. But for this area, for the land, for upcoming condos to be there is actually quite limited. So I don't think so there will be any. And also during peak hours is very packed up for at the junction, which I think is really very not suitable for own stay. And yeah, if you go with this Airbnb, people come in and out, you lose your privacy because which they are actually heavily depending on the Airbnb, which they are really going to make it happen lah. So if you really stay for own stay, then you see a lot of people coming in and out in the same development. Talking about investment, looking at the price and also whatever being promised, I think is not really practical. Probably sometimes it may hit about 6-7% for certain high or peak months. But looking at the density for this, I mean, it's considered low dense, but you have a lot of competition coming for the same building itself. So I'm not sure how certain will the GR looks like for it. When everyone is competing for the only game playing for this one. Where you have less option for other rental options. So it's a no-go for me as well.
I'm looking through the website. So this is somewhat designed as a commercial hotel. Means where you have the lift core in the center. Then when you go out, right, you will have a corridor that it's dark, absolutely no access to daylight or things like that, which is somewhat like a hotel lah. And then only maybe they got the approval as a hotel, but tiba-tiba tak jadi. Then they sell GRR lor. So this plays out like last time. I just had a talk about this topic. Like last time, they were hotel suites before Airbnb was a thing in Malaysia. And a lot of people got caught in it. And until today, I'm still struggling to find any, which I want to ask my Taiko later lah, which is there any good or or presentable GRR schemes in KL. Like so far, right, we have seen so many GRR schemes. I talk about it so many times. Not one success story, not even one. And then I looked through the developer website. I never seen any of their projects before. So I'm very curious to see their other ones. And then also the last point is there no other way out for developers for developments in KL really? Anybody who has land will build something, and because construction cost is too high, material cost is too high, the only way out is to somewhat repackage it as a GRR scheme. Because if you just play the long-term game, nobody will buy. Yeah, so to me, like you all point out, like deal or grill, both also tak jadi. Like not even own stay, not even Airbnb, because if you want to play the Airbnb game, there's so many other better options lah. Like I think this one Albee and William Pro, but own stay, then it's very obvious, and the whole brochure is designed as a hotel. So the fear is, because I just had a story is, even if I want to buy as a own stay, right? How? Like, do I live in a hotel? Then I don't know lah. So like the more informed our audiences are now, why people still push such schemes? And maybe it's also not the developer who push this kind of below market 23% or 50% GRR for
Agents lah.
lifetime kind of schemes. All these taboo words, right? Or sekaligus, like if you write a karangan to just trigger, right? Just tell ChatGPT to trigger all buyers in Malaysia. All the keywords are there. So I don't know whether it's the agency fault or the developer just found the wrong agency. That's my take.
I think first and foremost, before talking about this project, I think we can start planning for the funeral for Exim buyers who paid what, close to about 1,500 for Scarlets, is it?
1,800,
6.
1,500.
1,500, 1,600, 1,800 for Scarlets, right? And here you have property which is just next to the MRT going for 1,200 lah. So I suspect Scarlets will be the worst performing property under the Exim portfolio in the next couple of years, thanks to Armani lah, basically, right? I don't think it was intentional, tapi one of the main reasons why you attend DOG here, right? Deal agree is that so that you can have insights like this, right? So because new launch has got the power to destroy existing new launches, right? So which is why we always tell people, right? Please make sure that you buy below replacement cost or very close to replacement cost, because when you don't, right, you are buying something at the peak and then later you are competing with someone who's entering at a 30 to 40% cheaper compared to you lah, right? So that's basically just suicide lah, right? So number one, if I were today an owner of Scarlets, I will sell my property today as fast as possible, right? Because you got this one, even a non-Malay reserve 1,250. Imagine later when they launch Malay reserve lah, right? In Kampung Baru proper, right? So it won't be pretty lah. So Scarlets is really literally the worst loser, right? Right? This project, in my opinion, makes the first phase looks good, right? This property basically makes the first phase looks good. And I think, Sean, you are absolutely correct lah, because at the end of the day, the developer will sell certain properties and whatnot, right? And then after that, the agents will then go creatively, put mask the package lah, right? So we always call it lah. You put a lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, right? So no matter what.
Alamak, got this saying one, man.
Right. So you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, right? So and I don't know, Albee, whether we can quickly pull down, right, the Airbnb rental rate as of today for Scarlets. just to give people a sense whether it makes sense or not to do Airbnb here, right? Because I think Stir Sky is doing Airbnb, you got Scarlett's, right? So now for own stay, because it's already being marketed as a GRR play, so I don't think it's going to be quite ideal to stay in a place whereby 80 to 90% of the units, right, will be used as daily accommodation. You have no idea who your neighbors are, what their intentions are, right? So that's point number one. Now, point number two here is that, from a location point of view, I think that there are better properties at a better location available at a better price point, right? It's as simple as that, guys. If you just go 5 minutes away, right, from this particular station, you can find a lot of things in Jalan Ipoh, Sentul punya side at just 600 ringgit per square foot. It's half price, freehold, right? It commands similar view, right? Now, from an investment point of view, layout-wise, facility-wise, I think very, very clear. It's very Airbnb friendly other than the balcony, right? Other than the balcony, right? And the balcony is just confusing stuff to me which, normally when you do a second development in the same area, normally your second development is better than the first one. For this, I don't know if we can argue that right? So investment, we think is quite neutral. Is it too expensive? The answer is no. The view is going to be quite good. If people have visited Stir Sky residence, the view of KLCC at this site is actually quite good. Very nice, right? But, well, it's all subjected to the Kampung Baru development, right? So that's how long your view. And what is interesting here is that, in a way, this Lofthill is a direct competition to Times Square too, right? Because very similar price point, quite similar facilities. One on the other side of KL, the other one is on the other side of KLCC, right? So it's quite interesting to see, right? For investment verdict, this is a 2.5 for me, right? What will make it worse actually is the GRR. So because the GRR is actually very, very confusing. I always tell my clients that whenever that you see a GRR, you RFF, which means you run far, right? Because typically, Sean asked a very important question. Which GRR development that has got a happy ending? Now, to answer Sean's question, I can only think of one property saja in the last 20 years in KL with hotel GRR that has got a happy ending, right? And that property is called Swiss Gardens Residence, Pudu side, Bukit Bintang. Because in 2008, 2009, it was sold for roughly about 600 to 700 ringgit per square foot. So I don't think it's a GRR bid that matters, because at that point of time, you can buy Berjaya Times Square 500 ringgit per square foot. I bought my Casa Butera about 500 ringgit per square foot. It was still 30% more expensive, but because it's still city center, and then you got the Jalan Alo revival, to become to what it is as of today, right? So because of the lower entry price of just 700 ringgit per square foot, that was the only happy ending GRR that I can think of. Every other fucking GRR, guys, from KL Central to everything else, has ended in, not good for the buyer, right? So I'm very curious how this Marriott thing is going to play out. The other interesting thing here is that we saw a development in Johor called Quayside, right? That has got a Marriott. They want even more Kang, right? They got two hotel operators. One is Oakwood, one is Marriott. That was what was proposed, right? And they were speaking at a point of time, right? So the whole product makes sense, other than the fact that after you buy it, you don't have access to the unit for the next 20 years. And your rental yield is about 4 to 5%. So that means you buy a property, it's negative cash flow every month. You have zero access to the property for the next 20 years, which to me is such a terrible deal. So when the developer asked us to go and have a look at it, we say, nah, unless you give us the option to self-manage the property, right? And obviously at a 20% discount compared to what they're asking, right? Yeah. So we turned down the deal because we think it doesn't make sense. Why would you finance a developer building a property and still then pay negative cash flow for the next 20 years and you have zero access to the property? So you have all of the downside, none of the upside.
Who
Right? So
will
this
buy
one,
the project?
huh?
Who in the not only I need to pay loan, I need to pay interest for you, and I still lose money, and 20 years later I get the property. Like, I'm going to raise a kid better, right?
So the property is quite nearby RTS lah. So they are banking on capital gain. And truth to be told, from a facility point of view, is very nice. Right? But almost no end financing available. So anyone who buy has to buy cash. Now, layout is actually quite phenomenal. Right? Layout is good, all of units and whatnot, right? So I believe that if you can enter, let's say, for example, 1,001, 1,200 ringgit per square foot, 1,001 lah, basically, and you do self-manage, you'll make a lot of money, right? Because the facilities are unique, right? So it's got a rooftop pool that actually come out one, a bit like a marina.
Empty level.
So facility-wise, it's quite good. Facade-wise, it's quite unique, right? So it's very iconic lah. But, you know, that deal with the Marriott bid, oh man, it's 20 years of no access and they give you shit GRR, right? Guaranteed, right? But shit GRR, lah. Right? But at least the shit guaranteed GRR, I think can make it because I know they're going to make a killing. Because even at 150 ringgit, 180 ringgit per night, you will break even. And for that property, I'm quite confident you can rent at least 280 to about 300 ringgit per night. Right? So yeah. So that's our verdict. We hate GRR. We never like GRR. We run far lah, basically, from GRR. Right? So because, you know, the probability of failure, right, is just too high, guys. It's just too high. So again, I'm also not sure why did the developer went with this option, or is it an agent way of selling? You know, because you know lah, when agent sells, it can be uncontrollable, lah, right? They can promise the sky and the moon, but at the end of the day, you are left holding the baby. Personally, I think at this price point, you don't need to do GRR.
I think so too.
Right? You got the facilities, location is okay, you are better than Scarlett's. You see, Scarlett's today has got an average occupancy of about 70%. So you just take everything from Scarlett's lah, because you got a better location. You still have the similar view. You got similar facilities, right? I don't know whether Scarlett got rooftop pool or not. Ada ya?
Ada.
Huh?
Ada.
Ada ya? So Scarlett got rooftop. So very similar facilities, but better location, right? Better location. You should have better views, right? So by right, whatever that Scarlett has today, assuming that they've got about 62% occupancy rate, right? As of today, you're going to be able to go and get it lah. So they don't need GRR. I'm not sure why would they do it lah, but to me, it's just very, very, very confusing, right? So, and like I said lah, when they say Marriott, first they say Marriott, then they say a company associated to Marriott, and then it's 5 cents. So I also don't know, right? So did Marriott invested in 5 cents or owned by 5 cents? I don't think so, right? 5 cent Airbnb operator, I think is quite good. Why don't you just say 5 cents rather than confusing people with, you know, all of this. So for now, yeah, this whole GRR bit making me very uncomfortable. You don't have to do it. You know, if I were the developer, right, your price point is really quite competitive, right?
Yeah.
Out is good. Facilities.
It's like very desperate, eh?
Huh?
Like like such a high percentage below market value lah. Then
Yeah,
got GR guarantee lah. Then got premium hotel lah, but kinda not premium. Then
Yeah, but I think it's just agent BS lah, that one. So the 50% KLC is completely agent BS lah. I mean, these guys are literally trying to scam people, saying that this KLCC, right? So they basically literally rewrite the border of KLCC, right? So
so developer, if you're watching this, right, reconsider your agency, please.
yeah, man. I mean, the developer is someone that we are familiar with, and these are good guys, right? They've delivered projects, they delivered decent projects, right? And we bought inventories from them, so these are good guys. But the agent, who they pakai is making them look bad lah, actually.
Suddenly
Unfortunately,
you very like suddenly you're very pantang, the whole feeling of it, very pantang.
correct, right? So you went from having a very decent product, quite undervalued already as it is, right? So for example, if you just compare to Scarlett's worst location, you are 20-30% cheaper, it's still very good, right? And you don't have to go with 50% cheaper in KLCC and all that, right? Misleading people. The GRR bit is to me is very off-putting. So yeah, anyway, we hope that if you are a developer and you're watching this, please be mindful of the agents that you pick, their representation of your product. And once the reputation is gone, it's just very hard to reverse. Right? There are a lot of good agents, I'm sure. But it's gonna be the bad ones like this that's gonna ruin the reputation of the developer and the product. And for the agent, very straightforward. I cannot sell, I just move on to a different project. This project bad. Right? So as a developer, you left holding the baby. As the property buyer, you also left holding the baby. So just be careful. Right? I think there's a question. Are Money a good developer? We bought twice from them. They are very decent. I would say it's above average. Yeah, from a quality point of view, buyers are making money from their previous project. So in a way, I got little complaint. My dealing with them, they have never misrepresent. They have delivered 100% what they say they're going to deliver. So decent guys. But I don't like how the agents are marketing this project. They are making them really look bad. All right, so again, good, we say good, right? Bad, we say bad. And if people are saying that we are sour because we never got invited at this project, please, we have a personal relationship with the developers, with the owner directly. We get the call every time, right? So it's a question of whether is it available at the right price for our clients. And again, right, the reason why we didn't enter the first phase is because the first phase is about 1,000 each per square foot, but we're just buying better property, proper Bukit Bintang at 1,200 at that point of time, right? So there's just why would I want to buy border Kampung Baru at this price point when I can buy proper Bukit Bintang walkable to Pavilion at 1,200? So when we can buy better property, we try to negotiate better . So that's that. We don't developers a friend. We quite like them, but for this project, the agents are making them look very bad, which to me quite sad. Yeah, it's completely unnecessary. Yeah. So let's go, Albee. Next one.
Okay. Without further ado, let's go to the next one, which is actually, I guess it's just newly completed or just repeat. We have met one, which I guess this area, KL Metropolis, we just discussed one of it the last time. So this KL Metropolis is in a prime XW location. This is in Dutamas. They have Metropolis master plans coming up. Multinational communities, this is just neighboring to Mont Kiara, which we have a lot of different countries friends from this area. This is an integrated development. They will come with offices and also malls within below of this development. So on the other side, what's the real SP? I guess this is, everyone was talking about the Metropolis master plan, which is true. Component is already starting building and half of it is there. It's a prime locations, integrated developments. So on the other side would be the details of this Met 1. So this is a freehold, number of units 106. Layout wise, they have a small layout up to big size layout, which is dual key, up to 3 bedroom. Completion, they actually just repeat number of stories 55. Net per square feet today, average is about 950. So for sizes that is below 1,000, their net prices around 890 per square feet. So for 1,000 and above, is net price is 1,000 per square feet. So facilities wise, they actually have ground floor, level 5, and also for their sky facilities, they only have sky viewing decks, private dining, and also sky lounge. So for swimming pool, it's actually at the UG floor. So on the other own stay verdict, this is accessible through Duke Spring, also Jalan Kuching or Penjara Link. Amenities wise, we have primary school around, secondary school, and also international school, where you can get a lot in this Mont Kiara or even North Kara area. Healthcare 1, shopping mall is 5. Public transport access is probably in future there will be a MRT 3, which is the Utama stations. Long-term viability, I guess, is a great accessibility, multinational communities, comprehensive amenities for this master plan that's coming up. They will have the Central Park as well. So which is more maybe people want to go for exercise, looking for lifestyle. This is more suitable for their own stay. Mortgage wise, if looking for the smallest bedroom with the current prices you're looking at is about 3,600. For the bigger size dual key layout, is about close to 7,700. So on this area, the closest comparison we have is actually Solaris Park. So for median for this area, is about 910 per square foot. For newly completion, Solaris Park was transacted about close to 1,060 per square feet. For all property in this area, is close to 710 per square feet. So during its tier 1 upcoming supply, we have Exim by Fidel's, Demersion, Solasta, and also KL Midtown by Hapsing. So booster wise is the KL Metropolis Master Plan. Maturity point, I would say, is as for now, for this master plan is still semi-matured because there's still many components to be completed, because this Metropolis Master Plan, they have 9 components. This is the first component. This is why it's called Met 1. So MRO wise, I guess is they have multiple. You can go for whole unit, which is doing pretty well in this Tutamas or Mount Kara area. Some people are targeting for Airbnb because of the KL Metropolis components, and the last one option is co-living, which we also find some people are doing room rental in this area. So if you're comparing, the closest comparison is Solaris Park. Their 1 bedroom for this is up to 4,000, 2 bedrooms up to 5,500, 3 bedrooms up to 6,500. If you're comparing Met 1 itself, because they have started to have listing to pop up, so their 2 bedroom is about 3,001 to 3,005. 2 bedroom is up to 5,000. Their 3 bedroom is up to 6,000. The biggest size, the dual key, is up to 8,000. So it's I would say, comparing to the mortgage you guys are looking, I would say it's just about break even or making slightly positive cash flow if you're depending on what price point you're entering for this Met 1. So without further ado, let's bring our panelists to the ring. What do you guys think for this KL Metropolis, this Met 1, which is the first component for the master plan where they're going for residential, and they have integrated developments for this Met 1. For this price point, last time we discussed about Solasta was about 650 per square foot, but you are buying this component about average now 950 per square feet. So what do you guys think?
I think let me start first. Honestly, I think no lah. I'd rather go for Solasta, which with a much more lower price, with better facilities. I think spec wise, Solasta much more better. Quite basic from our side, from facade and upper super. But I think facilities wise, untuk livability is Solasta good, right? Investment, yes, since address is KL Metropolis. Even the spec is not as good as the next door, Solaris Park, but at least both located at KL Metropolis, you're buying something 200, 300 ringgit PSF cheaper, the same vicinity, nearer to upcoming potential MRT, Dutamas, with mixed development some more, right? Linked to the offices, mall, the Kabau retail, and also hotel. So yeah, yes. Rental wise, I think the next door now, Solaris Park, got high rental, where this Met 1 as of today fetch as high as Solaris Park, but by time there will be a correction lah, right, in terms of rental. Price wise, in KL Metropolis address, this one is considered one of the cheapest already lah. By excluding Solasta, I think this one is one of the lowest price. So I think yes for investment, but better with lower price point lah. Yeah. What do you think, William?
I think definitely investment. Okay. I think the price point for new launch or newly completed property is just right after Solasta lah, right? I mean, Solasta will be the best option in the same Dutamas address, right? So Met 1, next door, Solaris Park Phase 1, very, very good property, very nice spec, right? And you just cross the road. Of course, your specs are not comparable. Like what you said, Zakri, I think we've been there before, right? Yeah, but you know that price at that address, at that proximity to all the amenities of KL Metropolis offers, right? I think is a good option, right? At about 800 each per square feet lah. Yeah, so I would say investment, I think right? Honestly, layout wise, yeah, Solasta will be better option, and of course, Sunrise Park, right? That will be I would say the best in the address, yeah, for own stay lah, yeah, including all the facilities, right? They are launching the phase 2 also, so yeah, that's my take. Albee?
I will deal for investment grill for own seat. Yeah, layout wise, like if you're comparing layout, because if you're going for the smallest, this is 1+1, you open the door, the +1 is actually next to the door. Then you have your room. Facade and also facilities wise, not really that premium if you're comparing next door Storage Park. If someone want a really premium, a luxury kind, maybe they can look for Storage Park. But if you comparing prices to prices looking for own say for a similar address, which is at Tutamas, I mean Solasta price point will actually at a much more affordable price point with the similar location. But if you looking for investment as in rental, will be due because as for now, they're actually trying to chase up the Storage Park, but I believe there will be some correction because in terms of spec wise, it's slightly below comparing to Solaris Park spec. But if looking for future, probably I would see there is potential because it's an integrated development. Next door is Hapsing, we have hotels coming out. So for rental options, why we have more options. So I think I will do for the investment looking at probably the upcoming potential for this KL Metropolis master plan.
For me, this will be an ideal product for those who complain about Solasta.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody here in tune to investment already, right? And we kind of like blind to high
Homestay.
tension cable, highway, cemetery, traffic jam, right? To us, all those asal harga patut, right? Then it's all good go. But then but there are people who don't like it because deep down they still think that the last resort is I still need to buy, although it's for investment, I need to buy something that I'm willing to stay in. So I think then this becomes one of the good options. And this one sudah siap kan?
Yeah.
So I think if for those who likes certainty, then this is one of those options. And what's crazy to me is as an investment is this is ready, but you still get to buy at a cheaper price compared to next door. So that's like Feeder Woods is 1,200 or 1,001.
Net is about close to
900.
1,050 or
I think 900.
900.
One.
Net about
The
900.
lowest, the first
Yes.
batch is
First
900.
batch.
Yes.
Yeah, so like imagine like you can still buy something cheaper or that's equivalent price, but you can look at the unit today, and then you get the rental rates of today. Then you get Airbnb rates of today. So this is like you go in exactly knowing what is going to happen. So that's the good thing about this one. Therefore, in terms of investment, I think it's okay one. So but for own stay, don't know lah. I for own stay, it looks like an office though.
Yeah.
So at first I thought it was an office. So to me, no. But as a investment point of view, the data shows that there's rental demand. So if you cannot tolerate the negative things about Solasta, then I think this is okay. Right?
The plot twist for this development here is that this is one of the developments whereby the delay of completing the development has been a wonderful blessing in disguise. Right?
Wah,
Why
tak
do I
faham
say
lah.
that? So why do I say that, right? Because we've looked at the product, and in my opinion, the product is already outdated before it was even completed. from a facade point of view, in all honesty, and from a facility point of view, it will be the worst one in the metropolis area, right? It'll be the worst one in the metropolis area. Probably going to be the worst one, anything, right, along the Perseran Utama side, lah. Right? The pool is uneventful, the gym is better, right? But the facade is not great at all. I would say if I rate Solaris Park as a 5-star condo, right, and which is today deservingly so, right, as a 5-star, facade, facilities, quality, workmanship, this is probably 2.5 to 3-star only, right? So why do I say it's a blessing in disguise? Because can you imagine those guys who pay about 1,000 ringgit per square foot, 1,100 ringgit per square foot, and this project was completed on time to go and compete in Solaris Park, die away.
Ooh.
Right? But because they fuck up in the delivery, so now they owe berpuluh to beratus ribu compensation to all of the previous buyer who overpaid like crazy, right? So which is why we have median, right? So can just say lah, everyone who bought this property before has all overpaid. They are now being saved by the fact that they are getting 100 to 200,000 LAD, which means it brings the price down to about 800-ish ringgit per square foot. So when you own what I think is going to be the least remarkable property in Perseran Utamas, and you pay the lowest property with accession of Solastar, right? So you are suddenly safe by the fact that this project was delayed, not abandoned, sorry, right? So don't come and sue me, Naza, right? So it was delayed, right? So it was delayed, right? So quality, very so for 1,100 ringgit per square foot is, in all honesty, is just very underwhelming lah, to be honest. It makes Exim looks quite good, right, at 900 plus per square foot. It makes Solaris Park, which is the most expensive property there, suddenly looks cheap, right? Because this one, like I said, there are people who literally buy after discount at 1,001 per square foot, right? And from a quality point of view, it's just really not there lah, right? It's really not there. I think if you've seen it, you will know what I'm talking about. But today, at below 900 ringgit per square foot, I think it's a more safe purchase. If this is still selling at 1,001, I will just give it a 0-star investment verdict, right? 0-star, completely cannot invest one, right? But at below 900, it becomes okay. Like I said, sometimes the delay becomes a blessing in disguise, right? Because it lowers your entry price per square foot, right? So yeah, so this is one of those property whereby delay has been very kind blessing to the customers who bought, because if you guys have to compete with Solaris Park, paying the same price, you guys will sure die, because it's a completely different quality of property, right? And lucky that Solaris Park today has set a certain benchmark, right? For Perseran Utamas, to the point whereby at 800-ish per square foot, it makes sense to buy this, right? Because even after a 15 to 20% discount versus Solaris Park, it's still quite okay. But it has to be 800-ish per square foot. Cannot be above 900 ringgit per square foot, right? So yeah, that's our verdict. Own stay wise, location wise, it's actually quite okay. I think people are talking about the jam during Mata Fair. So anytime there's an event, right, in the MIVAC, right, Convention Center, the jam is actually quite terrible. So I used to stay in front of this place in the last 10 years, right, up until my divorce. So far, it has been quite manageable, right? The Publica side is all okay. The Perseran Utama side is all okay. Is the one leading, right, either this side or the other side of the MIVAC, which, from a traffic point of view, is just terrible, right? So yeah, that's our verdict. And for Muslims, the other bonus is that it's too near to the mosque, which means you can go solat berjamaah, dapat extra point lah. So if I were the developer, this is going to be the team that I use. You buy this property, boleh dapat extra pahala, because it's so easy for you to walk. Right? So That's how I would package this. Right? But as of today, there's a lot of Muslims who like to buy property nearby mosque, especially the one nearer to retirement or re-retired. They want something hassle-free, walkable to a mosque so that they can go ibadah, right? And today in places like Bukit Jelutong, property that is walkable to a mosque actually has got a higher premium than property that isn't walkable to a mosque. Right, so very funny, right? So this one, like I said, our deal or grill, semua orang tengok. You got the Melayu, you got the India, you got China, you got people who are overseas pun datang tengok. So again, some people say buy nearby a mosque is not great for property, but the reality in certain places, especially whereby there's a lot of T20 Malays, property nearby a mosque is actually more premium compared to property not nearby a mosque, especially when it's not new area, demography is a bit more matured, over 40s. Even for me personally, one day when I'm looking for a property for retirement, I would actually look for property that I can walk to either a mosque or a surau, a big surau, right? So that's that lah, right? So I think location-wise is pretty good. Right now, this is the cheapest property you can buy in proper KL Metropolis. The only reason why, from a verdict point of view, it's not higher. Again, Solar Star is just way better. It's still within the vicinity. It has got a much better facility. We think from a quality point of view, it'll be different too. And again, it's available at a almost 50% cheaper from a net price per square foot. Right? So gross price per square foot, sorry. So yeah, the upside is on Solar Star, which is why this is not higher lah, from a rating point of view. Okay. Right. Next.
Right. So next property to review, this one called Pinnacle Subang Jaya, right? So we all can see the ads everywhere, memang quite a lot. And if you go Loyak Forum pun, memang people discuss about this Subang Jaya Pinnacle lah, right? So this one located at SS16 Subang Jaya. Landmark is just next to Subang Preet Mall, right? Also near to Empire Subang, also the LRT KTM Subang Jaya station, right? So first, how do agent outside portray this Pinnacle Subang Jaya from their marketing POV, right? So first is TOD to LRT and KTM Subang Jaya. As of now, the distance to LRT and KTM Subang Jaya is really close. About 180-meter walking distance. And if it's happened to have the link bridge, this is gonna be a super TOD development. So you're potentially gonna be a link bridge. You're gonna be a link to LRT, either rain or shine. Residents can walk home or to LRT mine-free, right? So next is a freehold development. Yes, it is. And excellent connectivity. As we can see, this is Subang Jaya. All highway, we have their intersections ataupun exit dekat sini lah, right? And the main one is Federal Highway, is just next to them lah, right? And next is prime and matured location. As mentioned, the location is at SS16, Subang Parade neighbor lah. So really center and prime, that we would say lah, right? Last but not least, the 5-star hotel spec with more than 40 types of facilities. Yeah, on the left, you can see the facade illustration, quite basic. But based on the lobby illustration, yes, it looks like it, right? So this is based on the agent's marketing POV. So if you can see on the next slide, what we think on the real USP for this project, right? So the first one, yes, is TOD. It's about 180 meter prior to the link bridge to LRT and KTM station, Subang Jaya, with the vacant plot between the site to LRT is accessible, right? If there's no link bridge and the plot in front of the site is not accessible, there will be about 500-meter walking distance to the stations, right? Next, yes, is a matured and located at the proper Subang Jaya. So buyer buys something at the proper in center of Subang Jaya, right? And last but not least, we would say that higher entry price compared to the existing completed property. So we got to see roughly about the area number after this. Okay. So on the next slide, So this is the info for details for Pinnacle Subang Jaya. So as usual, you can screenshot this first. Not gonna go into details here, but roughly, all of the layout is a two-bedder layout across all of the units in the development, right? Price roughly about 900 plus to 960 plus minus lah, right? And to complete about 2027 of 941 units, right? So next. Right, so let's see on the own stay perspective for this project. In terms of accessibility, clearly stated, this is Subang Jaya. Access-wise, considered quite many lah. The Federal Highway, NKVE, Kersas, Elite, and it connects to more highway and expressway to the other part of Klang Valley, right? And quite number of educational institutions, private and public, including the universities and colleges lah. So hospitals and malls, even within the walking distance proximity, there will be at least about two malls walking lah from this Pinnacle Subang Jaya, right? So quite number of mall already nearby. Public access wise, as mentioned, 180 meter to LRT KTM Subang Jaya. So I think this one is the main USP that they always mention lah, right? And here we put a approximate mortgage for 90% from SP at 4% interest rate for all the layouts starting from 2002 plus for two-bedder up to about 2005 monthly approximately lah, right? So next one for investment perspective. Yeah, right. So on the medium side still here as of today about 900 ringgit PSF for new development, right? Not much on new residential property here. An old median about 720 PSF. So this number considering all the comparable area lah, including the old property Saujana, Isola, Subang, and many more in the comparable vicinity lah, right? And this area can be categorized as tier 2 area. No booster for this area. And maturity point, we can consider Subang Jaya as a matured area already. Most of the land has been developed with the LRT connectivity for many years already lah, right? And MRO as a multiple rental options. For this one, we think the most suitable is the whole unit, long-term rental and Airbnb, right? And for rental here, can see the closest is Empire lah, one of the hottest. It's a loft office 2008. Saujana Residency, one of the old properties at roughly about 2,600. Considering this is a big size, big size two-bedder. And Isola Subang for two-bedder can see here from 3,000 to 3,600 for big size also two-bedder, right? And to compare, Pinnacle Subang, the size, Pinnacle Subang Jaya, the size is much more smaller. Hence, potentially can catch a rental of the area lah still, due to it's gonna be a newer development, but plus minus the size consideration, right? So you can see the size of older development or other completed development roughly about almost double the size of Pinnacle punya two-bedder lah, right? So rental here roughly for a normal two-bedder 1,000-ish square feet looks healthy lah, we would say, right? So yeah, next. So let me bring along the panelists. What do you guys think about this Pinnacle Subang Jaya? Is a deal or grail for this on-state investment POV? What do you think, William?
Macam terus design straightly, for upfront for the, how to say, working professionals yang memang pakai LRT lah, right? Like two bedder straight, the size is 800, 600 square feet, studio want to do better. So I think they are smart in terms of the designing the properties, I think. Yeah, I think own stay for those targets, nice. For family, big size family, tak ngam lah, right? So you have a different segment for the property itself. I think they have very smart in that. Investment, this one is 900 plus per square feet, right? Zakri, Albee.
Yeah.
So about the same as median lah. So macam okay, right? Slightly more than the median price in the area with a link bridge more too. Macam more on real set lah. Yeah, not really below and yeah, honestly, so basically for me, investment not so real. Honestly, if you are those that I mentioned, right? Working professionals yang pakai LRT, or 1 to 2 people staying in the unit. I think this one, I mean nearby the area lah, Subang Jaya, then ngam lah for you. Zakri, back to you.
Mm, solely based on my personal POV lah. Things that I like about Pinnacle Subang Jaya is that the optimization of the size. But not really on the proposition on how they design the layout. From my view, it looks weird, to be honest. It's quite long-ish kind of layout, right? So for long-term livability, I won't stay here lah. So no for own stay. Investment wise, I think it looks okay lah. Back to the size. Size, I agree with the size, the allocation for two-bedder, where potentially you can fetch the rental of two-bedder in the same area, right? With the consideration of smaller size and Pinnacle lah, right? But it's newer. I think accessibility wise, quite okay. LRT KTM, ada more offices also nearby, and it's a proper Subang Jaya. Think price much more lower than the other new launches in the area. So think yes for investment. And it's a freehold, right? Yep. What do you think, Sean?
Tengah fikir.
This is not the launching price, man. I don't think it's the launching price because I reviewed this 2 years ago, I think. So it's one of my highest viewed video on YouTube. So what's scary about this is the density on multiple levels. Density from a plot ratio point of view. It's somewhat like an office suite. It looks more like an office suite, right? Then from a floor plate point of view, you have, if not mistaken, it's 32 units per floor on a triangle format, sharing 4 lifts. Then you got one extra emergency lift on the side. That is the main concern. Then the next concern is the performance of Subang Parade under the REITs, the new REITs. So that is also not very good lah. The only thing that's working in Subang Parade is Uncle Lim Kopitiam only. So the next concern then is the layout of the two-bedder. The one of the bedroom, it looks like added on. Means the only access to window, it's this small little square above your height when you come into the foyer. So that one, I think if without that window, right, it's a storeroom. But they position it as a two-bedroom. So when I reviewed it, I remember it's a lower price because it's comparable to Grand 15, SS15. So the Grand SS15 is doing remarkable, I think, in terms of returns and popularity. The good thing then is the connectivity and the leverage on SJCC by Sandabi on the next plot of land. So the immediate next plot of land, if I remember correctly, it's a big commercial plot of land, which they're going to do another mall. Maybe lah, a commercial lot kind of thing. But what's remarkable in that area is the rental for lot 15 for Aurora and the Isola. It's amazing. Don't know why. So, but if you look into the characteristic, it's the very big two-bedders, not the very sempit two-bedders. So, to me, at this price, I don't think I will buy. Neither nor. So it's it's grill for both. Because I remember a cheaper price. This one is if you pay market price for this product, no lah. Yeah, remember it's cheaper leh. Still got stock meh? This one still marketing meh?
Yeah.
They are still marketing.
Yeah. I think this price.
Also one of the concern is the retail below. This is a mixed development also. So if you look into Pinnacle Sri Petaling, the not so good thing is their retail, which is empty. in Sri Petaling. Sri Petaling is supposed to be this commercial superpower, not enough car park anywhere one, right? But their retail is dying. So in terms of evaluator, then like from their tenancy management for retails, I don't think that is their strength. And here, looking at Subang Parade and next door is not Lotus. What's the next hypermarket or next to it already? Never mind. Yeah, so it's a continuation of the retail, but
Iherng big.
Aeon Big. So that one also not very, very good lah, but at least it's there. So this is something that buyers, if you want to buy at this price, you all should know lah. But if anything cheaper than market, then I would lah. But at this price, I won't.
So for me, I also grill for both because I'm not from Subang. I'm not really familiar with this place, but just for own stay, if looking at the small sizes that people look at, the layout wise, is quite I mean like rectangular long, so not really optimized if you're comparing for the one that you have in the current market for the sizes. But if you're looking for a small size, you know, you are young professional suit, you want to look for a small size with this TOD, probably at this, you know, you are from Subang, probably this is one of pick. But at a price, I'm not really due for it. But I'm not sure about future because the rental for the area looks quite alright, but at a bigger size. Hence, I will go for own stay or for investment as well because of the price point. What do you think, Faizul?
I never understood Subang because for years I've been saying Subang overpriced. But number one, the value of the property never came down, right? Number two, from a rental point of view, it's just it continues to go up, right? So I've been in a way talking shit, right? And obviously I've been wrong, right? So like I said, when I'm right, I call that I'm right. When I'm wrong, I call that I'm wrong. I've been saying Subang has been overvalued, especially the student accommodation in the past. And numbers as of today has proven that I'm wrong, basically. Right? So I would never understood why anyone would pay 900 ringgit per square foot for Subang when you can top up a little bit more and buy, you know, something a lot better, right? In more primer parts of PJ. But I guess, you know, at the end of the day, you got fans of Subang, and then you got fans of Sunway, and then you got fans of certain locations, fans of PJ. That will certainly cost the price to be sustainable, right? What I don't like about first, I think from a development background point of view, these guys, the Pinnacle group, at least the Pinnacle series of product, has always been a non-HDA. I think this is the I don't know whether this is the first one, but at least in the last couple of years, this is the only Pinnacle series I can remember which is now falls under HDA, right? So don't know whether that's good or bad. I guess, you know, it's just me pointing that out, why you say the layout seems very office-ish, Sean. So I think because of that, right? So that's point number one. I think it's very smart, right? I think it's just very clever because today, because of the layout, they can now go and claim that this is a 2-bedroom unit in Subang at below 500,000 ringgit. Now, it sounds very affordable, right? It sounds very affordable. From a location point of view, it also looks quite good because it's next to, you know, Sam Darby's project, which was being sold, I think less than, I cannot remember whether a day or whether a month at 1,000 plus per square foot. Again, there's Subang crazy price point and people buy and there's not many auctions. Rental seems to be quite good juga, right? So it's just a Subang thing, right? That us as an outsider will never be able to go understand. Going up from there, right? So we do understand that dynamic, right? So will I buy this? The answer is no for both, because for own stay, I think it's very weird to have a living room with no window. Right? It's just weird. for me, right? But if you're a fresh grad looking to buy something in Subang, right, at below 5,000 ringgit salary, there's just no other option. So it's a very clever way of designing a property. Now you can sell a 2-bedroom for less than 500,000 ringgit, walkable to LRT and mall, right? Which even if you don't put Subang, you put anywhere else, sounds reasonable. But in Subang especially, I think this product will just continue to do well, simply because you got no other option. Everything by Sam Rabi will be luxury, right? Will be way above your mass market kind of like range, 1 bedroom at 600 square foot, so you get what you pay what 500,000, 600,000 to get a 1 bedroom dekat Sam Dabi, and here under 500,000 you get 2 bilik. So it's a very smart way of just designing the product, right? My only complaint is that I think they should have put a rooftop pool, right, to make it a little bit more unique for Subang, because Subang tak banyak property ada rooftop pool, and they've got about 1,000. How many units kat sini?
900.
1,000 kot.
Yeah, close to about 1,000 units, right? So it will make it a little bit more unique, right? So from a facility point of view, they've got a co-working, which again is really targeted towards this segment of young adult, starting adult, right? So again, I think it's gonna be okay, which is why I think if you look at the rating for own stay, we like certain things about it. We like the facilities. We like the facilities. We like the net price point, which is under 500,000 for a 2-bedroom, which we thought was very clever for Subang, right? We just don't like the fact that it does not have the living room does not have a window lah, for many of the layouts, if not all. Betul lah? Yeah, Zach and Albee? Right? So which is just so weird lah, right? But that's how you squeeze, I guess, a 2-bedroom under below 500,000 lah. Investment point of view, it's gonna be new, it's gonna be walkable to LRT station, right? And apparently the link bridge is part of their KM juga, so in a way they cannot get CF ataupun CCC without building the link bridge, so I guess they've got no choice but to honor it. And it's gonna be together with the Sam Dabi's development next door lah, right? So yeah, not a lot of supply. Subang has always had very little supply. I think their biggest competition is going to come from mainland project on the other side of Subang, right? The one opposite, apa nama dia tu? Yang ada lake tu?
Is it Tropicana or Mainland?
Mainland.
The old Shakey's pizza there. Hospital, sebelah hospital tu.
Dorset, Subang, betul. Dorset Waterfront, Subang, correct. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. So we can tell really the people who attend here are not, beginner per se, right? So yeah, Dorset Waterfront is probably the only competition lah, in a way lah, for as far as new property is concerned. Sam Dabi is not within the same category. They are on a world of their own. I price anything also got some joker will buy at 1,000, 1,001. So right. So yeah. Investment, I think it will work out because the entry price is just too low lah. Below 500,000 ringgit for 2-bedroom in Subang. Facility wise, okay, pretty decent for a new property. It'll be better. Yeah, won't stay, because the fact that there's no living room, right, dekat sana. Otherwise, there's no natural lighting in the living room. Otherwise, we would have given it a better star rating for own stay. Investment, rental potentially can break even already, right? Under this entry price. So not much to complain, right? So the only reason why we didn't rate it higher is because, well, we bought something around Kelana Jaya punya side, right? At just less than 600 ringgit per square foot, next to Paradigm. So then we just cannot give it much higher lah, given that we are entering what I would say similar property at a much higher spec, right? At a nearly half the price. Yeah. So yeah, that's the verdict for Pinnacle. Next.
Right, last one. Okay, so next property to review. This one is one of the hottest property in JB, Johor Bahru, right? And it's a mega project. It's called RNF Phase 3, also known as New Casa Suites, right? So this one located at the super city center of Johor Bahru, I would say. Landmark is CIQ. So it's a walking distance to CIQ, first link to Singapore, Woodland side, right? So first, how do agent outside portray this RNF from their marketing POV, right? First, it's located at the golden intersection of Malaysia and Singapore. Yes, it is, right? Obviously it is lah, right? It's located just next to the CIQ building, right? About less than 1 km in radius, right? And this is one is the most and next is one of the most highlighted USP, where it's a foreign friendly property for foreign purchase to buy lah, foreign purchaser to buy lah, right? So you can see a lot of ads. At least they have all of the ads for RNF, they at least have this USP not missing out lah, right? The rest sometimes ada yang tak ada, but this foreign friendly property is always there, right? So they always keep on pushing this property for foreign purchaser lah, right? It's a luxury and a modern design standard. As per phase 1 and phase 2, yes, it looks like it, especially if you're talking about the interior layout lah, interior of the unit, right? It's a freehold property that link to more, and the most important thing is link to JBCIQ first, link to Woodlands, right? So this is based on the agent's marketing POV. So you can see on the next slide what we think on the real USP for this project. Can move to the next slide. Right. So golden intersection of Malaysia, Singapore, since it's located 1 kilometer walking distance to JBCIQ, right? And apart from that, linked to also RNF mall and RTS that will be complete about next year end lah, right? And per phase 1 and phase 2, the interior looks quite solid and in luxury spec lah, right? And yes, it's a foreign friendly purchase, which one of the closest to Singapore, about 2 km radius only, right? To the closest part of residential part of Singapore lah, to the Marsiling and Woodland side, right? But just a concern here, it's a high density development, which this phase 3 gonna be roughly about more than 4,300 units on the total of 15 blocks, right? So if total up for all 3 phases, there will be about 40 total of residential towers for more than 10,000 of residential units, right? So our concept here is a high density development, right? So next. So this is the details for RNF phase 3. As usual, you can screenshot first, not gonna go into details here. But roughly, the layout is mixing from studio to the biggest layout of 4-bedder, right? Pricing in average roughly about 1,250, right? Pricing starting from 1,001 plus plus to up to 1,003 plus plus lah, right? PSF, okay? For the phase 3. And yeah, so next, let's see on the own stay perspective for this project. In terms of accessibility, clearly stated, this is located sangat-sangat dekat dengan CIQ Johor First Link to Woodlands, right? The accessibility considered solid lah, right? The Johor Woodlands Causeway, EDL to the northern part of Johor, Jalan Tun Razak, Skudai Highway, right? And quite numbers of educational institution, private and public, including the universities and colleges, hospital and malls. At least there are 2 malls that you can walk by using the link bridge lah. One is RNF Mall next door, and the other one is City Square Mall. Sorry, 3. And the other one is the JBCC mall lah, right? Just next to City Square Mall. Okay. And public access 1 kilometer walking to CIQ with a link bridge, and about 1.3 km walking to the upcoming RTS station, right? And here we put approximate mortgage on 90% SPA at 4% interest rate for all the layouts, starting from 2,700 plus for studio up to about 8,000 ringgit plus approximate monthly mortgage for the bigger size 4-bedder, right? And next slide on the investment perspective. So, median sale here at CIQ RTS area, right? As of today, about 760 ringgit PSF for new development and old median about 430 ringgit PSF. This number considering of all of the RNF earlier phases and also the Paragon Suites, Tree Tower and other comparable projects nearby right? And this area can be categorized as tier S tier S area, right? You can watch our battle royal. We defined our tier S last time, roughly about whatever within the proximity of CIQ, GV, more than 700 ringgit PSF lah, that we categorize as tier S, right? Booster for this area, the biggest booster gonna be a game changer for not only of this area, but potentially the whole GB lah, which is the RTS Bukit Chaga to Woodlands link, right? That's gonna be complete about next year end, right? And the ART Johor Bahru system, right? And maturity point, we consider this area as semi-mature lah, because super big booster is coming. More new launches also and the big developers also coming lah, right? So we would say this RNF phase 3 and this area is still under a semi-mature lah. There's a lot more potential, right? MRO as in the multiple rental option. For this one, I think the most suitable one is the whole unit rental, room rental and Airbnb, right? And the rental here, the closest comparable is obviously the RNF earlier phase. Studio roughly go up to 2000 to 2002 to 2005, one bedder up to 2006, two bedder up to 3003, four bedder up to 3007. And the room rental here is really high, where you can see asking up to about 1,004 to 1,800 for a room rental, right? And a car park lot monthly about 300 ringgit monthly, right? So really, really high. Yet the rentals they can't go for break even if you buy at this price, right? So next one. All right, so let me bring along the panelists. What do you guys think about this RNF phase 3? Is a deal or grill for this own steel investment? What do you think, Albee?
For me, looking at the density and the furthest to be, even though this is tier S, I will go with grill for investment. Looking at current, I'm not sure how I mean, like JB is very hot. Yes, it is. But transaction wise, I'm not sure whether it can fetch, with the price point they are selling with the CIQ and things going on. But I know, of course, this CIQ rental wise will do pretty well, but price wise and the distance wise, I will go with grill for this one. OC, I don't think it's suitable. I mean, Johor have like many choices for area for homestay that you can choose with if you're not you don't have to commute to Singapore daily lah, then there's other better options that you can get with a much more affordable price point compared to to this lah. That's my take for this one. How about William?
Grill for both in short. So basically I stayed in both phase 1 and phase 2, right? Like what some people saying here, water leakage issue is still ongoing in phase 1. Although the specs are actually quite nice, I like it in both phase 1 and phase 2. And to be honest, this phase 3 is like next to the phase 1. I would say phase 2 will be closer in that sense, and of course the view, I would say view wise, phase 2 also have more advantage. So in this regard of phase 3 of RNF, right, I think great for both, because if you want to go, I will still go for phase 2 lah instead. If I want to buy RNF, right? And I believe there's different package also for buyers who buy cash and buyers who buy with mortgage, which is why I think they always target for those foreigners, because they are most likely have a capacity to buy in cash lah. So I think the difference is about, when I went to the showroom, I think it's about 12 or 14%. If you buy cash, 15%, but compared to loan, right? That's a huge difference. So they prioritize those cash buyer lah, definitely. But with 4,000 each units, I don't think there'll be that much cash fire, right? Buying R&F, there's tons of launches in that area, right? Like that recently there's Gen Rise Phase 2, if you don't know, just across R&F only. They just launched Phase 1 at 1,001 per square feet. And this one is Phase 2 by Gen Rise also, I think 1,003 per square feet already. So just crazy, the area. But R&F, there's one huge advantage whereby you have a covered walkway, although not nice, but it's all the way to CIQ lah. And recently I noticed, because I just stayed there like 2 weeks ago, the malls are actually more happening. Yeah, like really more happening. The crowds are more. I mean, I went there normally on Friday or Saturday, same day, right? The crowds are a lot more retails opening up as well, right? Like, I think like 1 or 2 groceries and also 1 or 2 big kopitiam, big one. So, and they just have a new cinema as well. So yeah, I think the crowds are getting better. But yeah, for the supply wise, within INF itself, right? The phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, better by phase 2 lah. I mean, there's still developer units or phase 1 sub still. But yeah, of course, like what Albee said, right now, tons of launches there. This will be, I mean, at this price point, it won't be the best option. Yeah, I would say INF phase 2 better good. If you want to buy that proximity lah, right? Like that side of a JB CIQ area. So great for both, for phase 3 of RNF, but not for phase 2. I still like phase 2, to be honest, because the unit I stayed there is like the view very nice. I watched the people walk across the bridge, and the cars. Yeah, rental drop because phase 2 just launched, correct. So huge supply coming in, right? Yeah, rental drop a bit. So yeah, that's for me. What about you, Iherng?
Okay, based on the latest news that Sunway just got the land next to it, right? And I heard they are going to launch at 3,000 per square feet lah.
I also heard this, yes.
And because of that, suddenly this becomes sensible. But then you look into the latest launches by all the other groups, it's cheaper than this. So because of that, I wouldn't. Because it's not that extra further also. So I wouldn't, and I think I got ADHD from Johor property already lah, because I was the one building this. So last time I documented how Forest City was built. I documented how all the earlier RNF was built. So I am very familiar on how the marketing is. Like that sheer, just imagine if you're a phase 2 owner, or phase 3 will hand over key next month. Your rental is going to crash, like, and also like the infrastructure problem in JB at that area, like the recent flood, right? All this kind of thing. So I would still prefer the Tuas side of the checkpoint. That's why all my properties also all there on the Tuas side of the checkpoint. So I'm not a big fan of this one, although the walking distance to that one is unbeatable lah. But
Yeah.
if you have like 20, 30,000 all leveraging on it, right? Oof. No, so no for both.
For me, no for both also. I agree, 3 of you. Apart from that, I think no for stay due to the price. I rather go and get something that more livable, lower density, better facilities, about 2 kilometers away from much more lower price, right? I believe this RNF is selling including the premium of RTS and CIQ already. So no for stay lah. Like investment wise also no. The price is too high. They can't match the rental. Put aside the Sunway story lah. So too high that can't match the rental lah. So that is one. Second is that, as I said, I can go for lower price or for something less than 2 kilometers away to the half of price of RNF today's price, right? With the consideration of upcoming supply in the area. Apart from that, with the consideration of upcoming supply of the area, so no for both investment and homestay lah. Yep.
So just to add on, right, I just think that suddenly if I am working in Singapore and I'm earning 4,000 Sing dollars, right? And I will travel every day, does it make sense to buy? Because if not, I'm going to rent a place anyway. So maybe from that point of view, it gets interesting lah. That's the only, because like, although 2 kilometers away, if you travel weekly, fine. But if you travel daily, right, that daily commute makes sense, one. I'm just thinking from like, if you are using yourself and since you are paying that kind of rent, owning it is actually cheaper, then it would make sense. Just a caveat to that statement just now. Like,
My take when it comes to RNF here is that I honestly think there's gonna be upside the moment RTS is completed. Because it's the exact sentiment as what you had, Sean. I don't look at it as a Johor property. I look at it as a extension of Singapore, right? So the alternative here is that, do you stay in, at what price point that would you begin to consider staying in Johor, right? So my viewpoint here is that if you can save on rental plus committing by at least 50%, you are most likely able to endure the additional 1 hour, 1.5 hour of commuting on a daily basis. That's my POV, right? So obviously until it's completed, then we don't know, right? So now, would people who buy this at this price point will be able to go make money in the next 5 to 10 years? The answer is, I think there's a 99.99% possibility, yes. Right? But the big caveat here is that it's not the most livable property. It does not have the nicest facility, right, in the area, right? So the question of which one becomes the most livable, nicest facility in the area is still up for grabs, basically. So I don't know who's going to win, right? And on top of that, for us, we are buying, location which is 10 minutes away from this place at half the price, sometimes less than half the price, right? So we play the arbitrage game whereby, do we think that this place is going to continue to make money? The answer is yes. Will this place give you the best form of capital gain? The answer is no. Because your price point is already too high, right? The price point is already too high, right? It's not the most livable too, right? And there are going to be places which is going to be a lot more livable. And basically our bet. So we're going to bet on something which is cheaper and more livable. That's how we think we're going to win, right? If you're going to bet on the Tier S or the RTS station, right? So if you haven't watched our Battle Royale about Johor last year, please go and watch it. Because Johor Bahru got 3 areas. Tier S, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. All right, please go and watch it so that you can fully understand, right? Now, the other caveat I have to say here as of today, right here, is that there's going to be a big difference between property price today and property price 3 to 5 years from now. Okay? Now, the last time we did Deal or Grill, Battle Royale last year, right? I think it was Ngam last year. And we did one for Johor Bahru, right? That, correct me if I'm wrong, last year, there is no transaction, 0 transaction in the whole of Johor Bahru above 1,000 ringgit per square foot in sale.
Betul.
Huh?
Tak ada,
Right?
betul.
So we haven't checked what's the latest data as of today. But last year, right, less than 12 months ago, 0 transaction of 1,000 per square foot. I can say with absolute certainty as of today, there will be 0 transaction at 1,002, 1,003 per square foot, which is what this property is selling for. So everyone as of today, from the developer to the agents, hopeful owners who have bought and suffered for many years, are all banking on the future story. So as far as RTS is concerned, the premium has already been locked in because none of the people who paid 1,001, 1,002 buying this place, phase 1, phase 2, are making money as of today. Even with the rental has doubled since COVID. People still lose money, guys. Right? Now, post-completion of RTS, it will be a completely different story. Then we will see what is the level of absorption that people are willing to pay to move from Singapore to stay in Johor Bahru. Right? So we think from a rating point of view, right? If you move to the next slide, right? Own stay be 2-star, right? Simply because now facilities wise it's just so, location wise it's just so, literally for commuting to work lah, on a daily basis, right? Investment as of today we give it 2.5, right? 2.5, which most likely in 3 to 4 years time this become a 4-star to 5-star. But we cannot give a rating based on future viewpoint, right? So we give rating based on what it is as of today. As of today, is still a negative cash flow property, not too far away from break-even point, with upside possibility, which is why we have to rate it as 2.5-star. Okay. So I also think that, and there's a comment here already saying, the moment the Singaporeans initially, they will first start with RNF. Right? They will first start with RNF. The moment they have a sense of what JB is, right? They go shopping weekends and whatnot, they will begin to move to other parts of Johor Bahru. So RNF will be like the first place they will stay the moment they want to stay in Johor. Right? So and I think we're already seeing this trend, but I think this trend will be even more prevalent in the next couple of years. Right? So which begs the question, for example, as of today, right? And this is probably going to be a controversial take, right? Because today we are reviewing 3 properties with similar price points. You got RNF, you got Lofthill, then you got Times Square. All between 1,001 to about 1,200, 1,300 ringgit per square foot, right? The question I have, right? For all of you guys, which one you think of all the 3 above 1,000 ringgit per square foot property that we have reviewed tonight, which one will be the best performer in 5 years? Bagi tahu kat bahagian ruangan chat, guys. What do you think? I can see here people say Lofthill, RNF, Times Square. Right? Times Square. Okay. So, personally for me, between the 3, my money will be on RNF. Right? My money will be on RNF. Right? Because we are targeting the Singapore dollars, the earnings coming out of Singapore. Right? Now, but is RNF the best property you can buy today? The answer is absolutely not in Johor Bahru. There are going to be things that I think will make much more sense at half the price today, much better facilities and less number of units. And from a location point of view, it's already quite popular amongst the Singaporeans. Right? So, my take, like I said, between the 3 property we review above 1,000 ringgit per square foot tonight, I think this one has got the best potential for both capital gain and better cash flow compared to 3. Right? But is this the best property you can buy in Johor Bahru? No, it's not even close. Right? So for example, we divided Johor Bahru into Tier S, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. We've already made recommendation in terms of the entry price if you want to buy. If you go watch our Better Royal webinar, we actually made recommendation. Tier S, how much per square foot? Tier 1, how much per square foot? Tier 2, how much per square foot? Tier 3, how much per square foot? All right. So our bet today is that we're betting on Tier 1 property at below 400 ringgit per square foot. All right. We think that one will give the highest form of capital gain and cash flow, and it's nowhere near RTS. Okay. And the last, I guess, in a way, warning, right? At 1,002 per square foot, this is completely not below replacement cost. Right? Any developer that has got land bank nearby or can build below 1,200 ringgit per square foot. Right? So that's that danger lah, basically. So yeah. Right? That's our verdict for RNF. Phase 3. You know, so you know, we've covered all 5. right, for tonight. So I'm gonna give you a quick run through of the bonus session, right? So some data, right? Next, please. Okay. The first bit here is that if you compare, for example, just now, right, the data is basically as of today 3 times higher lah. Yeah. RNF versus the closest there is in Singapore is about 3 times higher, which is why we think there's upside in the rental for RNF. But it's not going to go to 3 times. It's not going to go to 2 times. So I think it's 1.5 lah, right, at best, right? The rental index has actually moderated and has actually gone down in Singapore in the last 12 months. So it basically peaked towards end of 2023, right? It has basically gone down a little bit since then, right? Which is why we're not buying the story, you know, that the upside for anything nearby RTS is going to be quite massive, because if the rental in Singapore will continue to go down, right, it will affect the rental value RNF. You have to remember, at the same price point, no one will stay in Johor Bahru. It has to be at a discount, right? For people to consider staying anything in Johor, it has to be at a discount, right? And the discount cannot be 10%, 20%. It must be at least 50% to justify the inconvenience of traveling across a different country every day. Okay, so point number 1, rental has actually gone down in Singapore in the last 12 months. So this is, again, very important data. Those who know will know lah what's going to happen, right? Now, next, with alignment, right? If you look at typical property bull run, right? Rental normally move up first because shortage of supply. Price will then follow soon. So if you move to the next slide, right? If you move to the next slide, it's quite consistent with the bull run indicator, whereby while rental might have gone down a little bit, dekat Singapore, the property values have continued to go up. Right? So again, rental has gone down in Singapore, property value has continued to go up. Yeah, has continued to go up. Okay. Now, next slide, please. Okay. So this is basically, like I said, there's a spillover effect for Johor, right? Thanks to what has happened in Singapore, right? In Singapore. Move to the next slide, please. Right. So this is typically rental in Singapore for 2024, right? So in a lot of places, a rental has basically continued to go up. These are all below 5,000 rental, right? Move to the next slide, please. Right? So GST, right? And cost of living has basically gone up in Singapore, right? So which again makes the case for Johor. Obviously, people don't track Johor because Johor is part of Malaysia, but the reality is that cost of living in Johor has also gone up, right? And actually higher compared to Singapore, guys. But still, relatively compared to Singapore, still cheaper. But the rate of it going up is actually higher compared to Singapore. Yeah, because the base is actually quite low. Next. Right? So we're going to comment a little bit about the Forest City Special Financial Zone, right? So the requirement here is that if you want to have MM2H visa, right? Normally, the cheapest is that you have to park 150,000 FD, right? To have MM2H access, the cheapest version. Now, under the Forest City Special Financial Zone, the deposit now is just 65,000. And if you are above 50, it becomes 32,000, right? But you need to buy a property in Forest City, right? So if you want to have access, right, to cheap MM2H, you need to buy a property dekat Forest City. Okay. So basically saying, right, in order to go and own, let's say for example a Mercedes, right? You need to go and buy a Bentley, right? And Bentley isn't a good car lah, basically, right? So all I can say, while it looks quite attractive, but the requirement here is that you have to own something that will be safe only when there's either a third link, HSR link, or a casino, right? That's the only way you can justify buying anything in Forestry at above 1,000 ringgit per square foot. Third link, HSR direct access. So that means the Singapore Johor punya station will be in Forest City, right? The other form of RTS is also a possibility, and the last bit is going to be casino, right? So my take here is that is a gimmick product, right? Is a gimmick product whereby I don't think you want to buy a property just because you want to lower the fixed deposit required, right? To have a MM2H. You'll be better off just buying a good property. After all, it is a deposit, it's not a fee, right? It is a deposit, it's not a fee, right? You can take back your money. So, given the option of buy good property but put 150,000 deposit versus buy for the city and pay, let's say, 32,000 to 65,000 US, right? I would strongly suggest that people really look at buying better properties, right? To gain access to MM2H. Okay, so that's our point of view. That's our point of view. Again, the only time we'll change that POV is that third link, access to Forest City, HSR, direct station Forest City to Singapore, right? Or possibly a casino. All right. Right, that's our verdict lah on the Forest City Special Financial Zone. Oh, I'm gonna get into a lot of trouble for saying this, right? I think we can skip this, right? Because this is basically just that, right? So with that, we are ending our deal or grill session tonight to move to Q&A. But before that, I've got an advertisement to make, right? So if any of you, right, like to buy a property that is better than the properties that we are reviewing tonight, right? That will give you better capital gain, more undervalued, better cash flow, right? You can sign up for this service whereby for a one-off service or payment of 499, right? We're going to help you acquire a property that fits your objective, right? So biasanya to become a client, you have to pay a lot higher compared to this, right? But this is again not a service to become a client, but we'll find you a property that is better than what we have reviewed in most of our deal agreement, right? So with that, I guess we can move to the Q&A.
All right. Okay, so first question. This one is specifically for FR. So why do you hate GRR?
I mean, I don't think I'm the only one who is GRR lah. I think anyone who has bought a GRR property also don't like GRR. I think I can say also Sean doesn't like GRR. I don't think Albee likes GRR. I don't think William likes GRR. I don't think Zach likes GRR. In fact, any property investor with a brain don't like GRR. And why we don't like GRR? Because there's a 99% probability of failure. That's all. If there's a 99% probability of success on GRR, why would we hate GRR? Right? It's as simple as that. Make money we like, don't make money we hate. Right? So you know, a fact is a fact lah. If someone can point out to me, other than that one example, right, of Swiss Garden residents in the last 20 years of GRR actually make money, right? Please do let us know. But most of the GRRs that we know of all end up being a disaster. Okay, so we don't like it because you know we you know, for any other reason and the fact that the probability of failure is very high. That's it.
GRR is a scheme designed to address the biggest fear of inexperienced property investor, which is their unit cannot be rented out. So if you buy a property but you worry the unit cannot be rented out, don't be a property investor lah. Then if you want to invest in a property, yet expect a 4 to 5% consistent returns, right? EPF sounds better. ASV sounds better, and that's confirmed, right? And yeah, there's too many stories where you can sign a agreement with a hotel operator kind of thing. Most of the time, like there have been 2 to 3 cases that I read through, all is a $2 kind of company. Even if you win the case against the assigned operator, you win nothing. Then the only blur part now is between GRR versus working with an Airbnb operator. It's very similar, but it's different. So that is the main clarification that a lot of people are very confused right now. So GRR is when they price in all the premium, and it's as if you qualify for the loan, but the money parked at my pocket first. For the next 6 years, I give you back slowly. But working with a Airbnb operator, then it's a little bit different. You don't have that premium upfront, and it's entirely up to you then to pick whether you operate yourself or you work with an operator. Yeah, so that's the confusion part where between GRR and Airbnb. So I did an episode on this also because recently another developer also talks about working with a short-term stay operator. And they also promise certain level of returns, but then it's not GRR.
So you have to remember, the GRR is not from the developer. The GRR is normally being promised by a entity which is separated from the developer that they can just completely wind down, right? So the worst horror story I can think of by GRR is the one dekat KL Central. Not exactly KL Central. It's opposite of KL Central. I forgot the name of the property. It was sold about 1,000 to 1,100 ringgit per square foot, right? And at one point, there's a company hotel operator called Best something, if you know, right? Let's call it Best Eastern Best Eastern. So they came in, offered a GRR, but last I heard, the GRR wasn't paid to the owners for 1 year, simply because the hotel wasn't making any money. Location was bad. They suffered very low occupancy rate. So when the hotel don't make money, they just don't pay, right? So it's just that, like I said, there's just too many things that can go wrong with GRR, which is why, look, just by based on fundamental, GRR becomes a bonus. Right? Like the episode of Swiss Garden Residence, right? Now, they bought it at 700 ringgit per square foot, you can walk to Bukit Bintang. Now, Swiss Garden can go bankrupt for all you care, but will the property drop to below 700 ringgit per square foot? That near to Bukit Bintang? No way. You know what I'm trying to say? Fundamentally makes sense, right? So, please avoid GRR. There are so many cases or instances whereby it never ends well.
Just to add on one more, from architectural point of view, GRL usually built on top of a hotel design building. Not so now if we look at all the Airbnb oriented designs, it's a little bit different. But with a hotel oriented design, most of the time you don't get access to your unit. You need to go through a centralized lock system to the corridor or key card or things like that, right? So if you were to buy something that you don't get access to, that's also a very big no-no lah. Yep.
Okay. Lai?
So moving on to the next question. What property that I can buy as of today that is below than 500,000 for cash flow?
I think the only property that we reviewed tonight below 500,000, there's only one, right? Which is Pinnacle, right? Right, it's the only one below 500,000. That one would give you a best case of about break even, right? The best property we are buying today at Far Cap. So if you are looking to engage us to go and help you buy a property below 500,000 ringgit with cash flow, is a is a below RM500,000 property that will give you anything between a RM500 positive cash flow all the way to about potentially even RM1,000 positive cash flow. Right? So below RM500,000 of dual key property, and we've got two of those. One is completing in 4 years, and the other one is going to be complete by end of this year. Both below RM500,000 will give you above RM500 positive cash flow. You take the right side of financing, will give you about 1,000 plus positive cash flow. And both you can buy tanpa modal lah, no down payment. Right? Below RM500,000.
The
Okay.
only fee is 499.
Yes. Fully refundable within a year if you cannot find you that property. So it's risk-free for you. And it's not even a fee. It's going to be used to knock off your down payment or booking. So basically it's a free service, but you have to pay the 499 upfront. You're going to get a one-time screening and loan eligibility and one-on-one to identify your goal. Then we're going to find the property, right, on your behalf.
All right. So next question. Any property I can buy with a cashback above 100K to pay off debt and increase savings?
Quite a fair bit actually. I think our highest cashback today that you can get is roughly close to about 300,000 ringgit. Right? So 100,000 ringgit, I think we've got about 5 today, property that can give you that kind of cashback. Right? Yeah, the highest is about 300,000.
Okay. So next question. What is your prediction for JB properties versus KLCC properties if you will pay above 1,000 per square foot?
Oh, I think we've covered that just now, right? So for me, it's JB lah. And the reason why it's JB is because you got this monster called Singapore next door with high cost of living, very high property prices, right? And you know, the RTS becomes a game changer lah. It's the biggest game changer.
Question. If RTS and HSR, which one will make more sense then?
HSR, in my opinion, does not affect JB.
No, so if KL and JB sekali lah. So now if kita kat
JB.
KL ada HSR,
JB.
still JB.
Because you see, for example, it's all about timeline and horizon, right? The next 5 years, HSR is not even completed yet. So which one will make you more money? So obviously it's the completed infrastructure lah, called RTS. Right? So you can buy the RTS first, flip it after 5-7 years, and then go and make a position towards HSR. But in my POV or point of view, the HSR is not going to help increase the property value of residential for KL. The biggest impact is going to be commercial property. Tier 1 areas like KLCC, Bangsa, Monkera, TRX will be biggest beneficiary.
Okay. All right. So since we are talking about JB, so there is like a question about, will there be an oversupply of JB rental properties in 3 years' time when all the current launches are completed? Is it still a good time to buy JB CIQ properties now when it is still red hot?
100% there'll be oversupply. Right? 6 months ago, when we speak to a major property developer, we were already informed that in 2024 alone, the number of new buildings being applied, right, to be built within a 3 to 5 kilometer radius of RTS is already 50,000. 50,000, guys, as of last year. The number is increasing. Right? So the number is increasing. So you definitely have a situation of oversupply and possibly a property bubble. So if the Singaporeans does not come in to stay in Johor, the Johor property market will crash. If the two countries fight and make it difficult for people to commute on a daily basis through the RTS, right? Because the leaders decided to enter a dick measuring contest, right? And most likely it's going to be a Malaysian leader rather than a Singaporean leader, right? The Johor Bahru nearby RTS city center property is going to have a very bad crash, right? So probability of that happening is not high, but again, right, we are discussing a game of probability when it comes to investment, so you better be prepared for such, right? Because the worst performing property market when COVID happened, when there's a lockdown between the two countries, guess where? Johor Bahru, guys. You can rent Forest City for 600 ringgit. RNF rental was 800 ringgit for one bedroom. That studio. Today is 2,000 plus, William, Zach, Albee.
Yeah.
But at that point of time, it was 800 ringgit. You can duduk dekat RNF sana. So, it's highly dependent on Singapore, right? It's highly dependent on Singapore. So while your upside is high, you also have to be prepared of that small possibility of,
What a perplexed situation right now. Upside wise, wow, very high, but then downside also very high.
I would say the upside is higher than the downside, but I think like everything else, right? We just have to highlight the risk properly. Right? Because I think when people buy 1,002, they completely oblivious of this particular risk. Because if you are oblivious of this risk, you buy something whereby locals can afford to rent and the Singaporeans also want to go and stay there. Does that make sense? You got your plan A and then you got a plan B. Right? So most people only have plan A. Our job is to hopefully educate people to, hey, be a bit smarter. Make sure you have got plan A, you got plan B, and you got plan C. Then, if everyone is paying 1,002, 1,003, we pay at 400, the probability of us dying is going to be very low. We'll suffer for sure, right? If the border were to close, but everyone else has to die first before we die.
Yeah.
All right.
There's-
Okay.
I'm still very sensitive towards what I did 6 years ago, like in some Iskandar. Now still like HD at that. Look at the data. Oof.
So sekarang kau dah bertaubat lah.
Okay, all right. So moving on to the next question. Any deals zero down that I can buy on 70% LTV?
I think tonight don't have, right? Because now the discount is above 30%. At Far Cap, I think we have about 4 deals as of today that on 70% loan, you can buy at zero down. Yeah, because our discount is greater than the 70% loan. So the answer is yes, 70%.
Okay. And is there also any deals below 300K that I can buy that will give me positive cash flow and capital gain?
Below 300K, today don't have. We'll have 1 or 2 in the next couple of months. Today don't have, but we're gonna have 1 or 2.
Apa pun mau sekarang. One cheap, one capital, one rent, one zero down, one cashback. Walao eh.
How easy life is for people today, Sean. You got
Aiyo.
last time during our time where the fuck got you go do your own duty no such thing as battle royal
Aiyo.
scam you on forum give you misleading information right? So yeah.
So easy lah now.
Okay, all right. So the next question. So what is the difference between this one-off service package versus your client membership?
A client buy at a greater discount. This is basically bought at slightly better compared to what the developer is selling. So if you want the maximum discount, sign up to become a client. But otherwise, just to explore the deals that we have, right? Just do the 499, and then after that, you can always upgrade to become a client. Right? And again, the 499 is not a fee, right? It's basically the day that you buy a property, it can be used to knock off your booking or down payment. So it's not really even a fee. And if you can't find you a property in the next 1 year that fits your objective, you get a full refund. Right? So this is basically zero risk.
All right. So next question. This one is from Mr. Tang. So I would like to ask how to do research on a property that is located in an area that I'm not familiar with. For example, if I'm staying in Kapong and I would like to invest in area like PJ, is site visit comparing the financial information, for example, price per square feet, identifying the demand around that area, good enough to avoid making a wrong decision?
I think those are a good start. Those are a good start. But they say PJ is big, right? And you have to identify which part of PJ, right? So that's one. The shortcut here is go watch things like Battle Royale. There's so much data in that 2 hour, 3 hour Battle Royale. So much insight on the development, the area, and the developer itself. So if I were in your shoes, Tang, we've done many of the homework. You can start with the Battle Royale first. Right? It's good enough already for you to make certain decisions to say, at this price point, I will enter PJ. At this above this price point, I wouldn't enter PJ.
All right. So next question is from Hanif. For Lofthill and Armani, I am hearing homestay will be negative cash flow. Thus, so for long-term rental will also be negative. It means that they are not in a good investment. Am I right? By the way, what is the median price in that area?
I think we've actually highlighted, right, what's the median price for all property, what's the median price for new property in the area. I think for all property in the site, I think you've only got basically two, right? Which is Tier Sky, which has got a transaction roughly about 900 ringgit per square foot. And then the other one is Scarlet's. I don't think Scarlet has got any sub-sale transaction, Albee. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, for Satir Sky, it's about 900 plus. Scarlet's is at the proper KLCC lah, so probably a different one if you wanted to compare lah. But if you compare just the location of this Lofthill, then it's 900 plus for the
Yeah.
Satir Sky.
Yeah. So at 1,002, you're buying about 30% above median, right? About 30% above median. So that's one. Number two here is that, so homestay GRR normally not good for long-term rental, not good for capital gain. So far the evidence is pointing towards that. Yeah, so far the evidence is pointing towards that. Yeah, which is why we don't really like property that is skewed towards Airbnb or short-term stays.
Okay. Moving on to the next question. This one is from Aliu. Any idea what they will do with the empty land in front of Pinnacle Subang? The bridge that connects to LRT seems have to go through the land, and through land is owned by Albee, right?
I mean, it's some land lah.
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
a commercial piece of land.
Mm.
And they will not do anything. So that will be the very last piece. If I'm a property developer, I will remain that as the last piece lah. So because currently Empire also not doing very well because they changed management. Subang Parade also not doing very well. They just celebrated their refurbishment of the bubble leaf, which is hilarious. Yeah, so but one thing is good is Albee is doing a lot of improvement on their retail after Elmina Lakeside Mall has came out. So then if you look into the Senada residences in KLGCC also, that mall is also opening. Melawati Mall also doing very well. That's why they are actually fixing their other commercial first before building the one in SGCC. So when they sell the project as TOD, walking direct connection to LRT, I disagree lah, because that's up to people's approval of access. If I don't let you into my land, you got nothing. There's nothing you can do.
My prediction is that the next piece of land will be the most expensive property in the whole of Subang when it's launched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the land next to it is E1. My E1 is launching soon. So I will be checking that out soon.
Next.
Okay. This one is from E1 Gun. Are we expecting more JB properties from Far Capital this year?
I think we are always on the lookout. We are always negotiating. But given the circumstances in Johor whereby things are hot, everything is hype, it makes it a bit more difficult to buy based on fundamental. So in a way, there's a reason why Warren Buffett is sitting on his largest cash reserve ever in the history of Berkshire, right? So there's a reason, right? He thinks it's overvalued. So for us, it's going to be the same. If there's a deal to be made, because fundamentally it makes sense, below 500 ringgit per square foot, it can give you positive cash flow, it's undervalued, we'll do it. And we'll continue to negotiate, we'll continue to go and find. Otherwise, we don't. We're not going to buy just because the train hype is very strong. We have never been a hype investor. And if you look at the history of what we buy at far cap, we normally go when the sentiment is at the worst. All right, we go sentiment at the worst. No one wanted to buy Johor Bahru 4 years ago. We were the first one to went in and buy big, right? And today it's paying off. No one wanted to buy Medini 2 to 3 years ago. We're the first one. So today Medini doing very well. Skandar Putri doing very well, right? You know, so you know, we are setting record high rentals in Nilai. We are setting record high rentals in Subang. Everywhere we go, right? So, you know, we don't buy into the hype. We tend to like to buy into weaknesses, right? So we buy based on fundamental, what makes sense, and then after that, you know, we let time, you know, play. That's what it does best, right? So yeah, we'll continue to be on the lookout, but the situation in Johor makes it very difficult to go do a deal today.
Okay, all right. So that's all the question picked by panelists. You want to answer some of the question or want to end?
Right. So I think I don't know, right? So let me look at the questions.
Yeah, there's a lot tonight.
Right. Any chance to look into Amaya at Sri Damansara? We'll look at it when things are hot there, lah. Right? So component Melaka, a lot of posting about property Melaka. Until HSR is halfway there, I'm staying out of Melaka. The price today is more expensive than KL for prime Melaka punya side lah. And the number of jobs being created is not great, right? Okay, I think we've answered most of the questions for tonight, right? So thank you everyone for joining. It's almost 3 hours now. We're supposed to do it in over 2 hours, just 2 hours, but you know, tonight we are we spent one hour extra, right? Which is why you see people are very tired, right? Except for me, because you know, I only start working after buka puasa and have my coffee, so I'm very energetic, very strong at night. Begitu, right? So with that, thank you everyone for joining. And we look forward to see you in the next deal or grill next month. That Assalamualaikum, and for our Muslim brothers and sisters, I wanna you know, wish you happy Ramadan dan Abi Rani, and if I don't see you before Raya, happy Selamat Raya, Eid Mubarak, yeah, to all of you. With that, Assalamualaikum, good evening everyone. Have a great week ahead. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.